It's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny, 24 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
The Osborne Shipyard will be a big winner in next week's federal budget. Federal Minister for Finance Simon Birmingham explains.
We're going to take the Osborne Shipyard from currently 20 hectares to 65 hectares in securing land potentially necessary for the huge undertaking of building the next generation of submarines here in Adelaide.
The budget will be handed down on Tuesday. Relaxing close contact rules and mask mandates will be discussed when the state government's new Emergency Management Council meet for the first time today. The council has replaced the COVID Ready Committee. Premier Peter Malinaskis has requested modelling on what impact easing restrictions could have on case numbers. He wants SA's level of restrictions to match the rest of the nation. Meantime, staff shortages due to surging COVID cases has forced at least 3 schools to close. New figures show more than 3/4 of schools and preschools have between 1 and 10 teachers away each day. The Education Union's Andrew Goll is calling for the Easter holidays to start a week early.
Our proposal is to have week 11, it's a long term, which is student-free days, which gives a few things. Firstly, it provides a break, a circuit breaker if you like, to slow and even stop the spread of Omicron through the school. In addition, it gives staff really important time that they missed out on at the start of all to sit down, regroup and prepare for term 2.
But the Education Department says it's too early to make a call. There were 4,742 infections reported in SA yesterday. 157 people are in hospital, including 10 in ICU. The Shaheen family have made Australia's richest 250 list, the 3 brothers coming in at numbers 54, 55 and 56, with a combined wealth of $2.17 billion. That's up from $1.93 billion the year before. The Shaheens run the Peregrine Corporation. They're behind the OTRs and the Bend Motorsport Park. NATO is pledging more military supplies and cyber support for Ukraine. The alliance has agreed to strengthen defences by moving 40,000 troops to Eastern Europe in response to Russia's invasion. It's also increasing measures to help Ukraine defend itself from biological, chemical and nuclear threats. Jens Stoltenberg says NATO is prepared for the long haul.
President Putin's invasion of Ukraine has changed our security environment for the long term. It's a new reality, it's a new normal, and NATO is responding for the long term.
North Korea has tested an intercontinental ballistic missile for the first time since 2017. The test of the banned missile is seen as a major escalation by the rogue state. The program for this year's Adelaide Cabaret Festival has been announced. The lineup, curated by Tina Arena, features 14 world premieres. Executive producer Alex Sinclair says the event runs over 12 days and nights from June 10.
One of our great headliners, Marsha Hines, will be exploring the gospel music of her heritage of growing up in Boston. We've got cabaret artist Meow Meow with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra on Saturday the 18th of June. 36 shows with 92 performances, so there's definitely going to be something for everyone.
And celebrations kick off tonight with the Variety Gala Red Carpet event. And the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have arrived in the Bahamas. As their Caribbean tour continues, they'll spend 3 days in the country. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty. 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with soccer, and coach Graham Arnold remains confident Australia can progress to this year's World Cup. Automatic qualification is now beyond reach after a 2-0 loss to Japan. The Socceroos will now enter a knockout playoff process. Arnold has told 10 Australia is still gunning for Qatar.
But at the end of the day, we've got the 3rd place spot, and you've got to be positive about that. We did that in 2018, and we've just got to move forward.
One game in the AFL last night with Carlton continuing its dream start with a 12-point win against the Bulldogs. Forwards Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow booted 9 goals between them, while Patrick Cripps was brilliant with 35 touches and a couple of goals. The Crows and Port Adelaide will train today ahead of their matches tomorrow. Adelaide has left out Riley Thilthorpe for the match, while Power will be without Robbie Gray and Aaliyah for their clash against Hawthorn. To cricket now, and Australia needs 10 wickets on the final day of the Test match against Pakistan in Lahore. The Aussies declared their second innings at 3 for 227. Usman Khawaja with another century, giving the tourists a 350-run lead. But the home side has started well and finished the day at none for 73. Meantime, an unbeaten century from Henry Hunt has allowed SA back into its match against New South Wales at Karen Rolton Oval. The Redbacks finishing day 2 of its Shield clash at 5 for 219, meaning they trail the Blues by only 75 runs. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
Mostly sunny, 24 today, sunny tomorrow, 28, Sunday mostly sunny and 30. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Friday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up in the first hour of the program this morning, Tina Arena after 6:30, director of the Cabaret Festival, performing tonight. The gala ahead of the big event starting a few weeks later. Then before 7 o'clock, Ryan Fitzgerald will join us. We'll get Fitzy's Footy tips, his preview of the weekend's football, albeit it's always a little bit disjointed this time of year with a game last night, thrilling one as well. Phil Curry in the nation's capital. We're going to catch up with the grandson of the great Villi, of Villi's Pies and Pasties fame, 1 year on from the death of Villi. We've got some giveaways. They've got a really lovely initiative that's planned around honouring his work here in South Australia, and their fantastic products. So we'll talk to him about after 7 o'clock. Orazio Fantasia on the program as well. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I'm sure he's there. Big shout out to Sam and the rest of the gang at Villi's out there in the baking area, the baking foundry, the cauldron, the coalface there at what suburb is it? What suburb are you in if you're on the corner of Richmond Road and South Road?
That's a good question.
Is it Hilton?
Well, the Hilton's a bit
further down,
further in, towards the city, isn't it?
I'm not sure, but anyway, good morning to all the Villi's team. They start earlier than us. I reckon they have the earliest roster of anyone in South Australia. Imagine that, baker's hours. You'd be in a constant state of fatigue, I think.
Yeah, just like us.
Are you trying to find out what suburb that is?
Yeah, I reckon it's Richmond.
Oh, yeah, Richmond. Would be Richmond.
Mile End.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Mile End.
Mile End?
Yeah.
Is it really Mile End?
Cabaret Villi's Mile End is what it says.
Well,
yeah. And it's right next to it's not far from the JB Hi-Fi Mile End, so if it's not, they all have to rebrand.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Well, I suppose you say Bunnings Mile End, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You do.
They're on Roa Terrace. So. Yeah. What do you think about Xenophon's comeback? What do you think his chances are?
Well, I just think functionally they're low because, I mean, you never count out Xenophon because his personal vote is massive. And like the bloke announces his candidacy and it's the top story on news services. And we'll talk about him today and perhaps to him at some point as well. But he's in too late, isn't he? You've got to vote for him below the line.
Yeah, well, that's it.
So, which is actually, it's been made easier. Got to the days where you had to number at federal level 1 to, 74 to vote below the line. Because you can just now vote for your first 10 or 12.
Yeah, you don't need to fill out every single box.
That helps him in a big way. But still, it's another level of effort that you're asking of people. And asking people to put an effort when they vote isn't a recipe for success, typically.
Have you ever voted below the line?
I always vote below the line.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Like fill in every single box. Yeah.
But mind you, since they've made it, you can only have to go to 12. I go to 12.
Yeah, right.
Unless there's someone I feel particularly strongly about.
I've had times where I've voted for Labor and Liberal people simultaneously below the line, and then have deliberately left some of them off.
Oh yeah,
because there's some you get to know.
Oh yeah, no, I've 100% done that.
Yeah. And put some people lower than the Communist Party.
Yes, I like those. It's always good, those sort of philosophical debates you have to have yourself for your coveted vote in the 60s, where you're like, okay, communism or fascism.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, now we're getting down to it. You learn something about yourself voting below the line.
And I'll give a few to the Shooters Party,
Yep.
You know, four-wheel drive enthusiasts party. They sound like decent sort of blokes. So we go shoot some goats out near Broken Hill. Good luck to you.
But what do you think? Do you think he's I just reckon that makes it really tough.
I think his name alone almost gets him a quota. And Rex Patrick, who's currently a senator, he's making a statement later today. I reckon his statement will be, I'm not running.
You think?
Yeah,
well, there was some suggestion he might run for Grey.
Yeah, I thought he'd ruled that out, though.
Yeah, he has ruled it out.
Yeah.
Previously, there'd been a suggestion of that.
Yeah.
So, you think Patrick will just step aside?
I think he might.
Because he fears that...
Well, he's been spending a fair bit of money.
He's been spending a lot of money.
They've been advertising on this station.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the midst of the state election campaign, it was quite weird hearing those Rex Patrick ads. But,
you know, Xenophon's the classic case of, I think, Xenophon's why the Senate exists. There'll be a lot of things, I reckon, I and you and our listeners will disagree with about that Nick Xenophon thinks politically, ideologically. But I reckon he's exactly the kind of person you want if you're a small state in the Senate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's the equivalent of you're independent in the hills and state politics now.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people in the eastern states bag him and go, "Oh, well, all Xenophon ever does is just whinge and moan about the Murray and the car industry, and defence jobs."
Yeah, let's get that guy.
Hang on a minute.
Yes.
Isn't it called the State's House?
Yeah, that's right.
Aren't people in the Senate to advocate? And this is where I think part of the appeal that makes him such a pest for the major parties is that he is a free agent. Although Liberals say he almost always votes for the ALP. They regard him as, you know, certainly not an ALP plant. I think if the ALP had their way, they'd plant him, you know, anywhere else but the Senate.
Yeah, that's right.
They find him an irritant. But he's generally supportive to that side, more supportive to that side of politics
I think
than the Liberal
philosophically
side.
that's where he falls. But above all else, he falls on the side of South Australia. The raw numbers of it are, we probably should talk about it more in SA than we do, because you've got, he's one of 76. One of 76 in the Senate. And how many live seats are we talking about? Because of the crazy state election result, there might be 2 in the lower house in South Australia.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, proportionally, that quota is going to have a hell of a lot more influence than those seats. For all the reasons except forming government, the federal government.
One of the things that it might do is rob a very lovely and impressive woman by the name of Karen Little, who's number 3 on the Liberal Senate ticket. It might make it harder for her to get in.
Yeah.
I met her, did a story about her last year. She's an Indigenous woman who worked as a journalist and ended up running her own businesses. And, she's a good operator. So I think the crunch is going to be on between her, Rex Patrick. But you'd think, you know, just the name Xenophon alone, even though SA Best just disappeared in the state election.
100% they did. 1% they polled.
They went from 14% to 0. It was 0.1.
Was it 0.1?
No, 0.2. 0.2%.
Yeah, that's remarkable. Took one guy out. 14 after 6. We'll be talking more about that, not just over the course of the day, but the next few weeks, I suspect. I can't imagine Nick's going to go quietly, whether he gets voted in or not.
He's inspired our meat tray too.
He has inspired our meat tray. The meat tray today, thanks to Dane at Blackwood Meats. You did well there, because you could see in my eyes I'd completely forgotten about this. They've been serving premium quality meat for over 60 years. That's a partnership, folks. Pop in this weekend to see them at 248 Main Road, Blackwood, for their Australian-grown quality meats. We want to talk comebacks this morning.
Laxman Dravid.
That was Laxman Dravid-esque.
Langer Hayden.
If Dravid had wandered off in the middle of the over.
Haynes Greenwich.
You know you're on strike, pal.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, come back here.
The Xenophon comeback, big one in politics. There's some suggestion there might be a Barty comeback at some point in time in the future. It's the week for it.
What, 2 days after she quit?
Oh, well, it's Tom Brady time. She's overdue. 82230000. We're talking great comebacks. Yours, someone else's, all-timers. This can go in a lot of different directions. Because you can be your own sort of story of a dramatic comeback, or it could be one in the annals of, you know, political, sporting or entertainment history. Could be anything like that. Let us know. You could win yourself a meat tray. Remember, you can text in as well on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 0448 08 1395.
The Isuzu D-Max is born to live. With wireless Apple CarPlay, a rear diff lock, 3.5-ton towing, plus a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. Search Isuzu D-Max.
Have you ever wondered if retirement living would suit you? Come along to an FIVEaa open home and enjoy a sneak peek of the life you could lead. These free events are from the 29th to the 31st of March at 15 FIVEaa communities across Adelaide. You can explore the communities, walk through display homes and chat with our friendly team. Attendees must be vaccinated and all events will operate with a COVID-safe plan. Take the first step and search FIVEaa Open Home today. RSVP is essential.
Get back to the office by getting out of the office and into the kitchen with Sprout.
Now, these are fantastic. A Sprout cooking class for your office. It's an excellent team builder. It's fun, non-intimidating, conveniently located, and the best part, you get to enjoy a delicious meal and learn a few handy cooking tips along the way.
Sprout's facility is huge, and you only have a cooking groups of 2 or 3, so it's COVID safe. Their autumn cooking classes are now open. Whether you put the master in MasterChef like David or you're simply a kitchen dunce like me, Sprout has you covered.
That's right. For some midweek meal inspo, Sprout is absolutely the place to be. So what are you waiting for? Go to sprout.edu.au and sign up today.
Act now, and you could be living right on the doorstep of art, culture, sport, entertainment and fine dining. 88 O'Connell. Construction of this ultimate urban resort begins soon, which means you have limited time to explore the 2-bedroom fully furnished display suite on site. 1, 2 and 3-bedroom apartments are selling fast, so make the time today. Hurry, time won't wait. Take advantage of pre-construction pricing. 88 O'Connell by Commercial and General, proudly delivering South Australian communities for 25 years.
Were you a fan of The Seekers? Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons? Neil Sedaka, the Everly Brothers, or the Bee Gees? Well, don't miss the Robertson Brothers Variety Show. It's a live 1960s variety TV show with special guest Simon Brooke McLaughlin from the Jersey Boys. The Robertson Brothers Variety Show. Tickets on sale now.
Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, news headlines coming up in just a moment. The meat tray, thanks to the wonderful team at Blackwood Country Meats, serving premium quality meat for over 60 years. We're talking comebacks this morning. Darcy and McGill's on the line. Morning to you, Darcy.
Morning, thanks for taking the call.
Not a problem, mate. What's the comeback?
I'm not going to bore you with John Farnham coming back a million times, but I think the best comeback that I've got is Marty Matner coming back to the old Double Blues.
Oh, now that's a very successful stint he's had too, old Marty. That's a good one, Darcy, and one that I can see has got David very, very happy to be talking about. Political comebacks for the meat tray this morning, 8223 0000, or you can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 044808 1395. Let's get to the news headlines on this Friday morning. The state's new Emergency Management Council meet today for the first time. On the agenda, close contact rules and mask mandates. Premier Peter Malinauskas wants SA's level of restrictions to match what's in place across the rest of the nation. There are calls for children across the state to begin their Easter holidays a week early. Surging COVID numbers have forced at least 3 schools in South Australia to close. And the Education Union's Andrew Gold says teachers are desperate for a break.
The feedback we're getting is really concerning. The levels of exhaustion and fatigue amongst our educators is really significant at this point. Remembering that they've been really papering over the crack of a system which is experiencing increasing levels of absentee from staff and students.
This is, I think, the stupidest suggestion I've heard in a very long time. Like, just thinking about it in the context of my own family, 3 of the 4 years that my son has been at high school, he's in year 11 now, have had this on-again, off-again, this week it's from home, no, sorry, you're going back into ISO because you're a close contact. Like, the amount of time just listlessly trying to sort of learn stuff on Zoom and so forth, and his school does a terrific job. But crikey, like, you know, the dislocation that this is doing to the continuity that kids are meant to enjoy for their education is appalling.
Yep.
And the idea that just because this new AEU guy, like, bring back the previous administration, because what you're a bit tuckered out already. The school year's just started, mate. Seriously,
it's early days, isn't it? March 25.
It's week 6. It's week 6 of term, isn't it? They want an extra week off. That guy's not speaking for most teachers. Most teachers hearing that would go, "Come on, mate, you're making it sound like a pack of horses."
The only circumstance in which I could see it applying and making sense is if you happen to be hit at that specific moment with among your teaching's body who are caught in quarantine or have COVID. So if in that specific moment an extra 7 days means you can largely have classes return to normal, that's the only circumstance in which I can see it making sense. But given that the fact we've got 3 schools closed right now, they're doing that on a rolling basis as it applies to schools effectively right now. So I'm not sure why picking a random week in the future is going to necessarily make things any better. NATO has agreed to strengthen its defences in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine by moving 40,000 troops into Eastern Europe. 4 new battle groups will be deployed to Slovakia, Hungary, Bulgaria and Romania. The alliance is also increasing measures to help Ukraine defend itself from biological, chemical and nuclear threats. Greece's permanent NATO representative, Spiros Lampridis, has told the BBC member countries stand together on Ukraine.
What we decided here again, and what the message from President Biden and all the other leaders around the table, was that Ukraine is not alone. NATO in itself and the countries representing NATO are aiding it for defending its sovereign rights and independence.
Joe Biden and Boris Johnson have both spoken at the NATO conference, and you'll hear from them after 7 o'clock on the program. A record amount of federal funding is being promised to help people with endometriosis.
Endometriosis.
I always struggle to say endometriosis.
This will be a legacy of the outgoing member for Boothby, Nicole Flint.
Yes.
Huge champion of the cause of endometriosis.
$58 million will be included in the upcoming budget for a range of initiatives, including the creation of a specialist treatment centre, or specialist treatment centres, importantly, across the country. I know people that suffer with that, and it's just...
Yeah, it's pretty full-on condition.
It really is.
Women.
The US, South Korea and Japan have condemned the latest missile test from North Korea, whose timing is always something. The rogue nation tested a banned intercontinental ballistic missile for the first time since 2017. That sort of has all the appearances of a toddler not getting enough attention, doesn't it?
Oh, does it ever? Yeah, it's like something straight out of Team America. Like, you can imagine Kim Jong... It's Un, isn't it?
Un, yep.
He's a weird-looking bloke, isn't
Hans
he?
Bleeks?
Yeah.
13.2 outside at the moment.
And stop breaking my you-know-what.
24.
I'm so lonely.
Expected top today. 28 Saturday. 30 on Sunday. Stays around 27 on Monday, which is warmer than we'd have previously expected. But then we start trending in a downward direction after that. Tuesday, 24. Wednesday, 22. Thursday, 20. Brad in One True Hills called in with a comeback. Morning to you, Brad.
Morning, boys. One of the greatest comebacks, I reckon, was when little Johnny Howard said, I've got more chance of becoming Prime Minister than Lazarus with a triple bypass.
Yes, that's a good one,
Great
Brad.
line, isn't it?
Perhaps the most famous political comeback.
That's how he introed him when he was on the show last week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He loves that line. He's very proud of that line.
It's a good one. It'll last forever. That's immortal, that line in Australian politics.
He's much funnier than people give him credit for.
Yeah. Self-deprecating.
He had that good line about Bill Shorten last week. And he said Bill Shorten it wasn't just measuring the desk. He'd already hired the removal van to move into the lodge. I thought that was good. Except, of course, he was completely wrong and the Liberals were doomed.
24 minutes after 6, we're going to take a break. There was no comeback for the Socceroos, unfortunately. We've got team news as well out of the AFL. And maybe is it a comeback for Carlton? It's been a decade since they've been 2-0. Feels like something of a comeback. We'll talk about it all with Rennie in a moment.
G'day, it's Jared for Wayville Mitsubishi. The iconic Wayville Australian Motors Mitsubishi showroom on Goodwood Road is going through an incredible rebuild, but the sales and service centre are still open. Same location, different entrance. Right now you'll need to enter via Goodwood Road for sales and via Davenport Lane for service. Looking for a new Mitsi or servicing your existing car? Get in touch with the amazing team at Wayville Mitsubishi opposite the showgrounds. Driven by Australian Motors. LVD 80.
Bonus local delivery on Australian-made mattresses now at Harvey Norman when you spend over $999. All the big brands: King Coil by AH Beard, Sleepmaker, Beauty Rest and Sealy Posturepedic. Plus 60 months interest-free. No deposit finance from Latitude with 60 approximately equal monthly payments. Finance only available if you have or are approved for a participating Latitude credit card. Minimum finance amount $1,000. See T's and C's. Interest applies for non-compliance. Fees and product exclusions apply. Available on in-store purchases only. Bonus local delivery on Australian-made mattresses now at Harvey Norman.
Go!
Now, it's 1 year tomorrow since we lost the most famous baker in South Australia, and definitely the nation. Of course, we're talking about the late and great Adelaide icon Villi.
Yeah, the Villi legacy lives on with Josh Millicets now at the helm. Josh is the first grandson of Villi. He's also the third generation to lead Villi's family bakery, and together with family and staff at his side, Josh will ensure that Villi's continues to produce the same quality products his grandfather developed decades ago.
That's right. Josh has been quoted as saying, "We certainly miss Grandpa's experience and knowledge around the bakery, also his cheeky banter and infectious laughter, but would also like to celebrate his amazing life and his contribution to our state."
We're going to speak with Josh after 7 o'clock today.
Yep.
We can all celebrate the life of Villi tomorrow by dropping into your supermarket, deli or cafe to Villi's and enjoy a Villi's treat. And as Villi used to say, if it hasn't got a V, it ain't me.
You're off then?
Yes, dear.
The backyard needs a good trim with the ride-on mower.
Totally. The kids will be done shortly, so they need picking up from the oval.
Good plan. Why are you giving me the car keys?
You can't walk to the oval, silly. Oh, don't worry, the backyard will look fantastic by the time you get back. Mwah.
Okay, dear. But I get the ride-on next time?
We'll see. Probably not.
Stanford Mowers for ride-ons. 590 Main North Road, Jeps Cross. stanfordmowers.com.au.
There's something you should know about SportsMed. We don't just provide knee, hip and shoulder care to elite athletes. Every day, we treat patients who simply want to get play with the kids fit, brisk walk fit or gardening fit. And having our clinic, hospital and specialists all based together at Stepney makes getting care for your joint pain and injuries, from diagnosis to rehabilitation, even easier. So get back to doing what you love. Speak with your GP for a referral. sportsmed.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
28 minutes after 6, Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. I'll tell you what, Will, your selection of Carlton to make the top 8 is looking more and more genius by the day, isn't it, Pembo?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay last night with Paddy Cribs, boy, they are looking fantastic. 2-0, very early, but the signs are good for Blues fans at the moment.
That's the first time in, 10 years that they've won their first 2 games?
Yeah, it's a long time. So
is there something wrong with the Bulldogs? Like, we saw the Beveridge brain fade last week, which he subsequently apologised for, but are they internally not right?
Well,
we know that there's a leaker there.
I mean, they've played a couple of good sides. Melbourne, reigning premiers. Carlton, I think, look like they're going to be a good side. I actually thought the standard was pretty high last night. I don't think it's panic stations, but I think zip and 2, you don't want to lose too many more.
Yeah.
But I think they would have beaten a lot of sides the way they played last night.
Yeah, right.
So I don't think it's real panic yet. Where I am concerned, though, David, and I'm starting to panic, is the Socceroos. Because last night they went down 2-0, the final goal coming deep into stoppage time.
Down that left-hand side, it's brilliant, it's 2, it's all over in Sydney, it's that man Mitoma again, what an impact off the bench. Japan are headed to the World Cup finals in Qatar, 2-0.
Audio there thanks to Channel 10, that was Simon Hill. Unfortunately, it wasn't just the fact that we lost, it was the manner with which we went down. We didn't really ever fire a shot.
We got bossed.
We got completely bossed.
Bossed at home. Lost a live World Cup qualifier, I think, for the first time in 40 years at home, and didn't look like we were in the same class. 40 years. Remarkable record, but it was deserved to come down last night. Waking up this morning as a Socceroos fan, I felt like what every member of the Liberal Party must have felt like last weekend that woke up, knowing that what lays ahead of them isn't going to be resolved in 4 years' time. It's probably at least 8. That's what it felt like watching it last night. Like, to put it in perspective for people that don't follow the soccer, so I was thinking, so Mitch Duke, I don't want to knock the bloke because he tried his guts out last night. His effort in a slog was unbelievable. but he plays as our lone striker. He's playing in the second division in Japan and hasn't scored in 9 games. That'd be like us playing a do-or-die test and we find out the guy batting number 3 in the other nation plays at Glenelg and is having a lean spell, right? That's the golf in class between the two sides. Their guys are all playing top leagues of Europe. 2006, we're a better team than them. That's 16 years ago, we were a better team. And here we are now, not even in the same weight division.
Yeah.
What's the path to it now? So we have to play Qatar home and away?
Well, it'll be UAE or Iraq. So the third-ranked side from Asia.
I think they're both winnable.
They're both winnable, but then we've got to play the fifth-ranked side from South America, either Peru, Chile, or Uruguay.
Nah, that's where it gets tricky.
Game over, man.
Are we back into the pre-06 period where every 4 years we get our hopes up only to have them shot down again?
Pretty much. Yeah, I think we shouldn't be.
Where's John Aloisi? Does he have any children?
But Will makes a great point. I mean, the quality at the moment...
It's just not there.
It's just not there. You can only do so much with the cattle, and last night, the golfing class was clear to see.
Yeah, it really was. I went to bed angry. And I've woken up...
I'm glad I went to the Jasmine.
Too. Yeah, you made the right choice.
How good's the Jasmine? I love that restaurant.
It's beautiful.
Big shout out to Amric.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, fellas.
Check out Glyderol Garage Doors, new look native series sectional doors, glyderol.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 24 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
The state's new Emergency Management Council will meet today for the first time. Premier Peter Malinauskas wants SA's level of restrictions to match the rest of the nation. On the agenda is close contact rules and mask mandates. COVID numbers have been steadily rising this week. There were more than 4,700 yesterday. A major show of support in the Osborne Shipyard. Expansion plans will be announced in next week's federal budget. Federal Minister for Finance, Simon Birmingham, says that means security and jobs.
While the change from the diesel-powered submarine to the nuclear-powered submarine was a shock last year, it is a crucial decision to make sure that our Navy has what it needs, and it will generate many thousands of jobs for decades to come.
The Ukrainian president is asking for air support to shield the skies from Russian attacks. Volodymyr Zelensky has delivered an address to a NATO summit. Alliance leaders have agreed to strengthen their defences in the east in response to Russia's invasion. Mr. Zelensky says Russia is using weapons of mass destruction and the consequences are clear to see.
To save people in our cities, Ukraine needs military assistance without restrictions. In the same way that Russia is using its full arsenal without restrictions against us. Russia destroys everything. Any objects, from houses to churches, from food warehouses to universities, from bridges to hospitals.
That translation thanks to the BBC. And the US, South Korea and Japan have condemned the latest missile tests from North Korea. The rogue nation has tested a banned intercontinental ballistic missile for the first time since 2017. The Adelaide Cabaret Festival is back this June with the program out today. The festival will feature 377 artists across 36 shows. The event runs over 12 days and nights from June the 10th, but executive producer Alex Sinclair says celebrations will kick off tonight with a one-off variety gala.
We really wanted to launch this program with a bang. We've got 10 or so acts that will feature in the festival in June that will be performing tonight, so it's just going to be a wonderful evening with artistic director Tina Arena, hosted by comedian Paul McDermott.
Drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day has been associated with a lower risk of heart disease and dangerous heart rhythms, but also with living longer. The research out of Melbourne has been presented at an American College of Cardiology conference. They say the data suggests coffee should be included as part of a healthy diet for people with and without heart disease. And Michael Bublé has announced an Australian tour at the end of the year. He'll perform at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre on December 11. Tickets go on sale a week today. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Despite a spirited fight back, the Western Bulldogs have fallen short by 12 points against Carlton at Marvel Stadium. In a scare for the Dogs, defender Hayden Crozier had to be given oxygen by paramedics inside the rooms. Coach Luke Beveridge says he appeared to faint.
Our medical staff think he's okay. Not sure about the reason why, but just got lightheaded and fainted. Yeah, the old-fashioned fainted.
Meantime, the Crows and Port Adelaide will train today ahead of their matches tomorrow. Well, the Socceroos will have to do it the hard way if they're to qualify for the World Cup. They were beaten 2-0 by Japan in Sydney last night, meaning they can't finish any higher than third in their group. They'll now have to play the third-ranked side from Asia's other World Cup qualifying group, and if they're successful there, will then also have to beat the fifth-ranked South American side. Well, the Test series between Australia and Pakistan is poised for a dramatic end. Pakistan trails by 278 runs with all 10 wickets in hand heading into the final day of the third Test in Lahore. Usman Khawaja picked up another century in Australia's innings and says he's confident of victory.
We stay patient, grind away for long enough, I think we'll have a lot of opportunities for our personally. And if we don't, Pakistan play well, then you have to keep just staying patient, keep doing the process over and over again, not try to chase the game.
And one game in the NRL last night with the Cronulla Sharks smashing the St George Illawarra Dragons 36-12. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
24 and mostly sunny for your Friday. Sunny tomorrow, 28, then up to 30 on Sunday. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
It's a beautiful day.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
The beauty, David, of living in the festival state as we roll from one festival into the next. And just as the Fringe and the Adelaide Festival are winding up, the Cabaret Festival starts sort of today, and the announcement of the program is going to be announced. But there is performances tonight as well for the big gala ahead of the official opening of the festival on the 10th of June. It runs for a couple of weeks. We've spoken to director Tina Arena before. Also joining us on the line is the executive producer of the Cabaret Festival, Alex Sinclair. Tina and Alex, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Hi, Alex.
To you,
Hi,
Tina,
team.
welcome home as well, because this is a homecoming back to Australia.
I have. I've come back from a little 4-5 weeks away, which was great. But it's certainly lovely to come home. Got to say, and very excited, to open this extraordinary festival that we've got slayed for you. It's going to be an absolute gem.
Well, as Will was just saying, after the last couple of years that we've had, not just here in Australia but worldwide, it's so nice to be talking about things like the Fringe, things like the Adelaide Festival, things like WOMAD, and now rounding out the wonderful festival city that we live in, one of our most beloved festivals, the Cabaret Festival. What do you think it is about the Cabaret Festival that makes it so special here in Adelaide?
It is a wonderful festival. I think what makes it unique is, we're outside of, I love Mad March just as much as anyone, the Fringe and Adelaide Festival and WOMAD, and congratulations to all of those guys for a wonderful, wonderful March season. But I think this Cabaret Festival that sits outside of that is a winter festival in Adelaide, and a real, a beautifully curated festival, which with Tina and I have just had a ball putting this program together. It's a curated festival that really, displays that Tina's artistic vision for how she wanted this festival to run. So I think that's the joy of Cabaret. We gather around that, that sort of winter fireside, in sequins and sparkles, and, really, really escape.
I know you guys have loved putting together this program, as you say, and you love all the shows, but could I get from each of you one must-see performer or show for our listeners? So they've got a tip from the people right at the very top.
Well, that's like asking the question, who do you prefer, Mum, or do you prefer Dad?
Yeah. Well, that's my next question.
And
do you have a favourite child?
Nah, come on. Give our listeners one that you're looking forward to. We can put all the caveats on how much you love the other ones too.
Oh, really? Here we go. Just how to crucify yourself in about 2 seconds as the artistic director.
Well, okay, let me ask it. Let me put it another way then. Make it a little bit easier. This Marsha Hines show looks fantastic.
We love Marsha.
We love Marsha, and Marsha will no doubt put on an incredible show, sort of going through her childhood and her experience growing up in Boston. No, certainly not a shabby place to grow up in.
Certainly not.
Place. Absolutely, but talking about, I guess, and singing about what her fondest and childhood memories. I think another piece that I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing is How to Kill Your Husband. Pardon the pun.
Okay.
I just think I'm a very, very big fan of Kathy Leitz and have been for a very, very long time. And I'm not talking puberty blues, because puberty blues didn't interest me as a read as such. I couldn't really relate to it. As an Australian girl, I was certainly not the surfy chick, although I fantasized about it. But her wit is extraordinary. She just gets better as time passes, and I think it's a very, very clever combination of fusing incredible wit and putting it into the set of an opera. I think that is something that is very, very, very exciting. Love on the Left Bank, I'm looking forward to as well, which is the life story of the French singer Juliette Gréco, who, set in post-war Paris. Apparently Louise delivers an extraordinary performance, and it's quite interesting that I think there's quite a few Australian ladies who are particularly, excluding myself, of course, have a particular affinity with anything French. I don't know what it is, where I think as cultures we couldn't be polar opposite, in quite honestly, having said that and lived with a Frenchman for as long as what I did.
You're far too modest to have nominated yourself, Tim, but I'll do it for you. I think a lot of our listeners are very excited too about the show you're going to be doing. 2 shows only, June 24, 25, Songs My Mother Taught Me, where you'll be joined by Jess Hitchcock, Wendy Matthews, Sophie Coe. It's going to be a terrific night. But for now, we thank you, and also Alex Sinclair, the executive producer of the Cabaret Festival. And we look forward to the celebrations kicking off tonight with the Variety Gala Red Carpet event. Thanks for joining us.
17 to 7. Ryan Fitzgerald is coming up in just a moment. Police and weather just before him. But first, it's time to check traffic for the first time this Friday morning. The Robertson Brothers 1960s Variety TV show on at Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue. No, doesn't seem like we've got traffic, unless you want to make it up live, David. No, that's probably not a bad idea.
To be, traffic's moving reasonably smoothly based on what information we currently have to hand. But if anyone would beg to differ and has any evidence to the contrary, please give us a ring on 8223 0000.
Yeah, well, this is a bit of a choose your own traffic. You can go with that version. Or I think we've got this one now.
Morning, lads. At Torrensville, car has rolled on Henley Beach Road near Marion Road. Still seeing a few delays there, so take some extra care. Ovingham, works on Torrens Road near Park Terrace continue, affecting both directions, speeds reduced. And Mile End, you'll find restrictions for works on Henley Beach Road near South Road. That's affecting both directions as well. A few cameras about this morning too. Addison Road, Pennington, Eastern Parade, Otway, and Murray Road at Port Noarlunga. It's 4-day sale time at Harris Scarf. Hot deals on a wide range of homewares and fashion. You won't believe these prices are for real. And Sunday at Harris Scarf. Great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
If you're going to test drive a new car, taking it around the block a few times isn't enough. Take a proper test drive at Jarvis Toyota, Clovelly Park. The all-new Land Cruiser 300 boasts enhanced luxury and technology, making it a pleasure to drive both on and off-road. With a brand new 3.3 litre twin-turbo V6 diesel engine, it's the most powerful diesel Land Cruiser yet. Rediscover the road and take a proper test drive in the new Land Cruiser 300 at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
Hi, can I help you? Yes, I have a snoring problem. Can you describe it for me, please? Well, it's about 5'11" with curly hair and a moustache. I see.
Introducing Mute, sleep technology that opens the nose to increase airflow by an average of 38%. So you and your partner can enjoy a good night's sleep. Mute, available now at leading pharmacies. Always follow the directions for use.
The Barossa Valley is gorgeous, which is why it makes sense to make the vine change to retirement living in Barossa Village in Anguston, Tanunda and Nooriutpa. It's the retirement lifestyle you deserve, and your pets too. Yes, your pets are your family, so you should never have to choose between your lifestyle and your beloved animals. Make the vine change at Barossa Village, under an hour from the city. Find out more at barossavillage.org.
We don't just say we're local, we are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
14 minutes to 7. If you're struggling with your footy tips, don't despair. Ryan Fitzgerald very shortly stuck in quarantine, poor old Fitzy.
With the Rona.
He's got the Rona. So he's had a bit of time to prepare for his footy tips this weekend, put it that way. We'll speak to him very, very shortly. First, we'll talk weather. John Fisher, senior forecaster at the Weather Bureau, is on the line. Morning to you, John.
Morning, guys.
So take us through Friday and then the weekend, because it looks like we might have a patch of really nice weather.
Yeah, that's right. It is warming up just in time for the weekend if you're lucky enough to have it off. So starting today, coolish night here in Adelaide, got down to 11.7 in the city. So not quite the coolest morning of the year, but not far off. Out through the northern suburbs, though, it's just sitting around 9 degrees at the moment. So coolish, heading for a pretty similar day to yesterday, to be honest. So going for a maximum of 24 degrees, mostly sunny conditions, though there's just a few clouds around this morning, but they should clear up, and pretty similar temperatures across the suburbs, just a touch cooler at Noarlunga, 23 degrees, and 21 at Mount Barker. But for the weekend there, the high pressure system, which is to our southwest, is going to move off eastwards pretty quickly towards Tasmania, and it's going to give us a kind of a warmer easterly flow. So 28 degrees and sunny on the way for Saturday, and then even a touch warmer, 30 degrees, mostly sunny for Sunday. So some pretty good weather there, guys. And beyond that, next week, no real rainfall on the way, and temperatures just gradually dropping down through the week. So kind of 27 on the way for Monday, and then back down to around 20 by next Thursday. So, yeah, certainly the pick of the weather over the weekend.
Lovely. Good
on you,
stuff, John. Thank you.
Senior forecaster John Fisher from the Weather Bureau. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes is on the line from SAPE. I'm going to let you go first, David, as our resident dog squad enthusiast.
Oh, I love him. We had made the retiring dog was hero of the week earlier this week, but not for the first time. He's having a big year, PD Judge. He's caught a bloke in Richmond, Rebecca.
Yeah, so this was about 10:45pm last night. We had a call from a resident at West Richmond. She was reporting a man on a bicycle acting suspiciously. He was riding down the street and trying car door handles along Passmore Street at West Richmond. We're really lucky to have Polair immediately overhead, and they were able to track the man on the bike and allegedly observed him testing more car doors in the back streets of West Richmond. Patrols cordoned off the area, and police dog Judge and his handler snuck up on the suspect. They actually waited, and he successfully entered a car in Devon Street and allegedly stole a wallet, and that's when PD Judge and handler pounced. So a 28-year-old man from Glengarry was caught red-handed. He was arrested and charged with illegal interference and theft, and he'll face court today. So just a reminder to the public to always lock their cars as well and remove any valuables. It's just this sort of opportunistic theft can be avoided.
So he didn't even know the dog was there.
No, they deployed covertly.
Oh, mention that. You just got you've got your wallet out of some poor bugger's car. You're thinking, how good am I going? And then suddenly
having a great night.
Yeah, there's PD Judge.
I reckon you guys are missing
and then
a trick.
In the shadows.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to be able to look up the live stats, Rebecca, of how the dogs are all performing. You know, is
Do you
this
think we need a leaderboard?
Yeah, we need a leaderboard.
Right.
And then you could sell merch. You'd be little kids walking around in like a Havoc T-shirt.
Team Judge.
Team Judge. I think there's something in that.
I reckon what you should do is like team up with the RBT program and do one specifically about the dog squad.
Oh, how has that not happened yet?
I know, but you could put GoPros on their heads. Imagine that.
That would be fantastic.
Imagine having
I'd
like
watch
dog cam.
Oh, I would watch that.
We should take this offline. I reckon we need to come.
I think you're giving all our good ideas away.
I know, formal pitch, and we'll keep a cut of the profits from the IP. I think it's a great concept.
Back to core business. Rebecca, there's been a suspicious car fire at Sefton Park.
Yes, police and fire crews are called to a car on fire in a car park on Main North Road at Sefton Park about 8:40pm last night. It was a red Mazda 121. It's not reported stolen. It had actually been parked in the car park by a nearby resident who then walked out his front door to find his car alight. The car was completely burnt out. It does appear suspicious, and we're asking anyone who saw any suspicious activity in the area last night to call Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333-000.
Thank you, Rebecca. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes from SAPOL.
That's an idea whose time has come, isn't it?
Yeah.
We shouldn't have actually said that on air.
We've stuffed up royally.
There's some TV person who hasn't had a creative idea in months who's
No.
going to be listening to that, and they're going to go into the boss today and say, well, come up with this idea. It's called Dog Cam.
Yeah.
We're ringing
Reality
SAPOL.
TV. It's got all the ingredients.
Why haven't they done that? I suppose the thing is you have to consent to being filmed, don't you, even when you're a perp.
But I reckon the law should be, if after the fact you're found guilty, one of the rights you forfeit, including your right to not be in prison, is your right not to have appeared on a TV show. Don't you think? Like once the trial's done, so you film a bit in advance. That's reasonable, isn't it?
Yeah, how does it work on RBT? Actually, have any of our listeners ever been on RBT?
I think they all say it's okay.
Probably because most of them are off their face.
That helps. Well, I guess it would work in this capacity as well, maybe. Anyway, I don't know. It's not where the dream is. It's for let someone else work out the details.
Yeah, that's right.
8 to 7. Time for a break. Ryan Fitzgerald coming up in just a moment.
You don't have to jump on a plane to find pals from around the world, or even leave the airport. Parafield Airport Liquor Store has thousands of pals in a huge old airport hangar. So maybe their pals are whiskies from Scotland, Ireland and Japan, but that's just some of their pals. With over 300 craft beers, 500 whiskies, and over 2,000 wines. New pals from around the world are closer than you think. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Hey, it's Callum here. It wasn't by chance that Edwardstown Mazda located themselves bang on South Road. They wanted to make it easy for people driving to the city, just like you, to get your car serviced. So no matter what make or model car you have, make a pit stop at Edwardstown Mazda for a logbook service. They can drop you into the city so you can forget about expensive parking fees, or borrow a new car for the day, which is what I like to do.
It's gotta be.
At Edwardstown Mazda, they'll do whatever works for you. edwardstownmazda.com.au.
The Adelaide Symphony Orchestra are putting on the biggest musical party in town. It's on next Friday and Saturday night.
Get set for a sensational musical celebration when the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra give a favourite tradition a new twist.
Join the quick-witted conductor Guy Noble and special guests as they guide you through a fun-filled night of stirring anthems that you know and love. The spectacular program includes compositions from Glanville Hicks, Parry, Smythe, Elgar and Wood.
Soprano Desiree Fran, the Elder Conservatorium Chorale, and graduate singers perform stirring anthems you've come to expect, including Jerusalem.
Bring your loved ones, your party spirit and your vocal cords for some magical musical entertainment. Last night of the proms at the Festival Theatre, Friday 1st and Saturday the 2nd of April. Go to aso.com.au for more information or to book now.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Well, we're going live to ISO today to chat with Ryan Fitzgerald for Fitzy's Footy Tips. Trust House Inspect Australia, the most qualified team in Australia for house inspections. Search House Inspect Australia, albeit don't go and inspect Fitzy's place right now. Mate, how are you holding up?
Yeah, it's caught up with me, fellas. I'm at home, working from home. I'm day 5 now of the spicy cough, and the cough is sticking around. I'm not feeling too bad, actually. It's just luckily I'm superiorly fit. So, boys, I'm pushing through it, and everything's going all right. So, thanks for having me, lads.
So, mate, have you been doing the show from home despite having COVID?
Yes, yeah. There were a couple of moments where I tried to get out of it, Pembo, but no, I've pushed through, and I'm still getting up at 4:30 in the morning.
And for the joys of radio via Microsoft Teams, I imagine.
Yes, on Zoom calls. I've got three computers in front of me. So, we've continued through, boys. So I'll definitely be using my sick days when I'm perfectly fit.
You don't want to waste them on being crook.
Exactly.
Hey, Fitzy, when we last spoke to you and you were up and about, you were pushing the campaign to get the Foo Fighters to Adelaide. There have been a few people that have pointed out there's a sudden gap in the calendar now, or the potential nice alignment with the return of the V8s. We had an election here on the weekend where it looks like the V8s will be coming back. That was one of Peter Malinowskis's big promises. Do you see the planets aligning for this?
Well, I tell you what, Labor Party, well, congratulations, the Adelaide 500 coming back, but wouldn't it would be, and it's not just the V8s, it's the musical acts as well that we go to the Adelaide 500 for. I mean, you are blowing everybody out of the water if you could get Foo Fighters to play, and, I mean, they touch down and play their first show in Perth on Wednesday the 30th of November. And then the next one's not until Sunday the 4th of December in Melbourne. So there is a gap there where they could actually perform in Adelaide. I think we've got to leave this up to the Labor Party.
Yeah, well, you know, given the thumping majority they got, they can do pretty much anything. Peter Malinowskis, if you're listening, and he's in the right age bracket, it'd be a Foo Fighters nut.
I agree, but for everyone else, we've still got this petition up as well. You can go to the Instagram account, which is Foo Fighters Adelaide 2022, and Jordan's doing a very good job there. They're still pushing this over the line. We've got around about 7,000 signatures, but we need another 3,000 more, so go and sign the petition, and it could be a massive December in Adelaide.
Absolutely. Can't think of anything better. Let's rip into the tips, mate. Tonight, we've got the Swans v the Cats.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. I think it's wet in Sydney at the moment, but I think I'm going to go the Swannies at the SCG. They play it well. I don't think Buddy will get his 1,000, but they'll beat the Cats, the Swans.
How many does he need? 4, isn't it?
He needs another 4, Penbo.
Yeah.
And it's just a bit slippery here at the moment, so I think he'll...
Well, mate, given you've promised to run onto the ground, you don't want it to happen when you're at home with the Rona.
Wow, mate, I can't go. I was supposed to go, I was supposed to go to the Barry Hall Sonny Bill Williams fight the other night, which actually worked out well because it only lasted 2 minutes.
That's right. Now, mate, after the heartbreak of last week, can the Crows bounce back against the Pies at the G?
If it was in Adelaide, I probably would have picked the Crows, but because it's at the MCG, I'm going to have to back the Pies there.
Essendon, Brisbane?
The Lions will win that game. They looked really impressive last week.
Then Port with their first home game of the season against the Hawks.
Yeah, Port Adelaide will win that convincingly.
Yeah. Gold Coast and the Demons.
I am going to go, I think this is going to be a lot closer than everyone thinks it's going to be. I've got to back the Demons, but the Suns look like a good team and they always start the year well. So
yeah.
That could be a roughie if anyone's looking for it, but I'm going to go the D's.
North Melbourne and the Eagles.
This is a tough one to pick. It's at Marvel Stadium. West Coast still decimated by COVID and also injuries. I'm going to go North Melbourne to win this game.
Then Tigers and the Giants at the MCG.
I'm going to back the Giants to win at the MCG. Richmond have got too many injuries and they've got an ageing list, so the Giants to win that one.
And then finally, Freo and the Saints. In the West.
That's over in the West, so I'm going to go the Dockers to beat the Saints there, boys.
Good stuff, mate.
Get well soon, mate.
Yeah, have some Lemsip, mate. You still sound a bit snuffly.
I know, boys. I'll get through this and I'll speak to you next week. Thanks, lads.
Good on you, mate.
Good on you, Fitzy. Trust House Inspect Australia, the most qualified team in Australia for house inspection. Search House Inspect Australia.
You can actually hear the longer that was going on, the worse he was getting.
Yeah,
he was genuinely struggling
a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's totally out of puff.
Big effort to continue working through it.
I'll say, yeah. A lot of people just say, no, I'm going to hit the couch for a while. Depends how badly you get it, I guess.
We're getting a lot of great entries for the meat tray this morning, thanks to Dane at Blackwood Country Meats. Pop in this weekend to see them at 248 Main Road, Blackwood, for their Australian-grown quality meats. We're talking comebacks this morning with Nick Xenophon's political comeback. We'll get to some of your entries. Also, wrap some of the stories of the morning right after 5AA News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 24 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
The state government's new Emergency Management Council will meet for the first time today. Easing close contact rules for COVID will be top of the agenda. SA currently requires infected people to isolate for 7 days, but it's double for close contacts. It also deems a close contact to be someone who's had face-to-face contact with a COVID-positive person for 15 minutes compared to 4 hours interstate. Premier Peter Malinaskis has indicated he wants to bring SA into step with the rest of the nation. Trials will soon begin for 2 Australian-developed COVID vaccines, which could be more effective than current options. Gail Watson has more.
The vaccines are being developed in Melbourne by the Doherty Institute and Monash University. They focus on the most dangerous area at the tip of the coronavirus's spike protein called the receptor binding domain, or RBD. Doherty Institute Director Sharon Lewin has told News Corp by targeting a smaller part of the spike protein, it may provide a more efficient immune response because the immune system isn't wasting time on other parts of that spike protein. Just over 100 people in Melbourne will be given the vaccine in phase 1 of the trial. It potentially could be a viable option for a more effective 4th dose of the COVID vaccine.
A car has gone up in flames at Sefton Park. The Mazda 121 was reported on fire in a car park on Main North Road shortly after 8:30 last night. It belonged to a nearby resident and wasn't stolen. Investigations are continuing. The Shaheen family is worth $2.17 billion. The 3 brothers behind the OTR Empire and the Bend Motorsport Park have made Australia's richest 250 list. Their father started it all, buying a small BP service station in the western suburbs in 1984. NATO has agreed to strengthen its defences in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine by moving 40,000 troops into Eastern Europe. 4 new battle groups will be deployed to Slovakia, Hungary, Bulgaria and Romania. The alliance is also increasing measures to help Ukraine defend itself from biological, chemical and nuclear threats. Greece's permanent NATO representative, Spiros Lampridis, has told the BBC member countries stand together on Ukraine.
What we decided here again, and what the message from President Biden and all the other leaders around the table was that Ukraine is not alone. NATO in itself and the countries representing NATO are aiding it for defending its sovereign rights and independence.
Earth Hour is happening this weekend. We're being asked to switch our lights off for an hour tomorrow night in support of stronger action against climate change. Earth Hour starts at 8:30 p.m. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The Crows will have a light run today ahead of tomorrow's clash against Collingwood at the MCG. The Crows have left out exciting forward Riley Thilthorpe for the team. Captain Rory Sloane telling Rowie they know they can match it with any side when they bring their best.
For us, it was when it clicks and when we get our defensive game right and we keep it simple and we give our forwards a chance, our best is certainly good enough.
One game last night with Carlton 12-point winners over the Bulldogs. Well, disappointment for the Socceroos after last night's 2-0 loss at home against Japan in Sydney. The result means the Aussies will finish 3rd in their group and won't automatically qualify for the World Cup. Defender Trent Sainsbury telling Channel 10 it's disappointing, but there's no excuses despite a heavy travel schedule.
Congratulations Japan, they deserved it tonight. But, at the same time, like I said, it's just something that we've got to deal with. As Australians, we've got to travel all this way to play. And, focus now turns to the Saudi game.
To cricket now, and Australia needs 10 wickets on the final day of its test match against Pakistan in Lahore, while the home side needs 278 runs to win. The Adelaide Lightning has gone down in its opening semi-final clash against the Melbourne Boomers, losing 95-64. And a great result for Aussie Lucas Herbert at the World Match Play event in Texas after he beat American Xander Schauffele, meaning he's a good chance to progress to the round of 16. Fellow Aussie Minwoo Lee also has just beaten Thomas Peters, while Aussies Adam Scott and Mark Leishman are on the course and are both leading their matches. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
At Bedford Park, breakdown on the lower section of the Southern Expressway as you're heading inbound. Ovingham, works on Torrens Road near Park Terrace continue, affecting both directions. Speeds reduced and one lane closed. And Mile End, you'll find restrictions for works on Henley Beach Road near South Road. A few cameras about this morning: Baines Road, Woodcroft, Grand Scully Road, Chandler's Hill, and Homestead Drive at Aberfoyle Park. Buying your first Mazda, trading your old vehicle, or getting your car serviced? It's got to be Edwardstown Mazda. edwardstownmazda.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
Sunny and 24 for your Friday, sunny tomorrow 28, then Sunday mostly sunny and 30. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Six minutes after 7. Today's the 25th. Tomorrow's the 26th, which makes it 1 year since the death of Villi Milicic. The great Villi of Villi's fame. I love going to that place.
That's excellent. It's a real place. It's a good place to dine in.
It is, absolutely. We used to... It became a regular stop off on hockey days with my wife back when she played a lot. We'd drive anytime we were within about 5 Ks. I reckon it'd be like, should we just go to Villi's?
About once a year, I go in there and have a pie floater.
Oh,
I love it.
It's so good.
Love it.
We're going to speak with his grandson Josh in just a moment. The call to arms for people is to celebrate this day tomorrow by buying a pie and toast Villi in the sky. We've got our Villi's mugs happening right now on the 5AA Facebook live stream. Looking forward to speaking with Josh in a few moments' time.
I've got the pie and pasty combo going as well. How's that for breakfast?
That is, well, I'm pretty sure that's all your food groups covered right there.
That's right, all 5 of them.
Getting some suggestions for the meat tray coming through on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line, but unfortunately some of our listeners are seeing this as a vehicle for cruelty and the infliction of pain and punishment. We're asking people to talk comebacks, thanks to Dane at Blackwood Country Meats, which we'll be giving away before 9 o'clock this morning. You can see them at 248 Main Road, Blackwood, for their Australian-grown quality meats. The 93 prelim finals come up, David. Thanks. Thank you, Russell. Thank you.
Russell,
as if the world's not hard enough.
I'm guessing Russ, you're from Port Adelaide or thereabouts.
As if it's not hard enough.
He's really gone back through the annals for that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an all-timer.
Were you at that game?
No, I was not at that game.
I was at Peter Ingman's house with mates, and at half-time we're all making our plans, how we're going to get to Melbourne.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't really pan out that way. A lot of great texts here. One best comeback in cricket has to be the Zimbabwean cricketer Ed O'Brandis to Glenn McGrath when Glenn asked him why he was so fat. I think we all know how that one ends.
Yeah.
One here, Andy says, how it works with the program RBT is that they're all morons and they think it's cool to be on TV.
Well, that explains it.
Thank you for that, Andy.
It's a form of consent.
Getting a few from teachers talking about how bad things are at the moment. One says, how about getting into a school for a week? COVID cases are out of control with a high absence in students and staff. Teachers are giving up breaks and non-instruction times to cover classes and break times. There are no teachers to relieve classes where the teacher is in isolation. This week my school has had 2 classes where a temporary teacher could not fill, leaving other classroom teachers and leadership to juggle when I'm at school by 7:30 and still working at 10 p.m. It means that educators are absolutely exhausted.
No one denies it sucks. Like my sister and sister-in-law are both teachers. I get a blow-by-blow account of how tough it is.
Yeah.
No one's discounting that stuff. I'm just, is a 7 days added onto that going to stop it or alleviate or make it better?
It's more than 7 days. The union's saying they want an extra week
on top of the school holidays
to make it 3, and they want pupil-free days before that.
Like surely the policy approach is rolling stoppages as you run out of staff, not an arbitrary sort of, we're going to pick 7 days at some point in the future and hopefully that'll mean you can get through the crisis.
Yeah.
Like that seems like an inflexible policy response as opposed to what they're currently doing.
Well, the idea that you stop now so everyone can have a bit of a breather in the hope that it's going to get better is Mark McGowan thinking. Because we know that the forecasts are that we'll have more than 8,000 cases a day next month.
That's right.
So what do we do then?
Yeah.
Do we have 2 weeks off?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we just stop educating children full stop. Make it easier.
I just need to
because
see the
that
math,
seems to be
the
like
maths on this idea.
I like this one from Sue and Christie's Beach about comebacks inspired by Nick Xenophon. Pretty hard to go past the comeback of Paul McCartney, who died before Abbey Road was released and still lives on 50 years later.
That's an all-timer, I would have thought. That's an all-timer.
What was the theory? The theory with the cover was the number plate on the Volksy on the cover of Abbey Road said 28 if. And the theory was, because it was McCartney's birthday or something when it came
like
out,
that.
and he would have been 28 if he was alive. And also the fact that John was barefoot.
That's
some
right.
Hindu burial thing where you mourn the dead, you have to not wear shoes.
The reason we're talking about comebacks this morning...
Amazing what LSD can do to people's imaginations, isn't it?
The reason we're talking comebacks with Metro this morning is because of the return of Nick Xenophon.
Hi. For the last 4 years, I've tried to be a political hermit. I can no longer sit on the sidelines. Why? Because I give a damn. I will run with every bit of strength I have to get across the line. It's never too late in a democracy. It's going to be tough. I am an absolute underdog on this. No Bollywood.
No Bollywood.
No Bollywood.
That's the audio courtesy of Deanna Williams' excellent story on Channel 7 last night. We spoke about the prospects of his return that have been made all the more difficult by virtue of the timing. He's late enough in the piece that he can only run as a below-the-line candidate for the Senate for South Australia. So name recognition alone will get him a lot of votes, but will it inspire enough people to vote below the line for Nick Xenophon to make his return to the Senate?
And also you wonder whether the implosion of SA Best in the state election last weekend, where their vote went from 14% to 0.2%, is that going to feature at all? I don't think he has a great working relationship anymore with Frank Pangello, the SA Best people. I think
there was nothing about the SA Best campaign that felt remotely Xenophonish.
No. Ian Marcos, really good candidate. We had him on the show. He did a great job running the Master Builders Association, but, you know, the whole vibe in hindsight of last week was Mallee mania, wasn't it?
It was. But I mean, I was stunned by their vote. They were around sort of Animal Justice Party levels.
Well, they didn't really have any media.
No.
I didn't see any ads. Did you see any ads?
No. Well, no, they had one in the paper. I saw a paper ad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot around. But it's tough for the minor parties financially.
Exactly.
Over in Europe, well, we spoke yesterday about Joe Biden was flying to Europe. It's for a big NATO conference at which we've heard some of the leaders. There's been some concrete moves to come out of that. They're going to increase alliance forces in Eastern Europe. This was announced at this emergency summit in Brussels. Some 40,000 troops will be moved to places on NATO's flank that faces Russia. Here is a little bit of what the leaders had to say. First, US President Joe Biden saying that NATO has come together in a way that's the opposite of what Vladimir Putin would have wanted.
NATO has never been more united than it is today. Putin is getting exactly the opposite what he intended to have as a consequence of going into Ukraine. And today, I'm announcing the United States is prepared to commit more than $1 billion in humanitarian assistance to help get relief to millions of Ukrainians affected by the war in Ukraine. Many Ukrainian refugees will wish to stay in Europe, closer to their homes. But we also will welcome 100,000 Ukrainians to the United States with a focus on reuniting families. And we will invest $320 million to bolster democratic resilience and defend human rights in Ukraine and neighboring countries. We're also coordinating with the G7 and the European Union on food security as well as energy security.
Things get really... These all sounds great. Boris Johnson, you hear, he sounds really strong in a moment. Things get really wobbly at NATO when you put to them really difficult questions around what next if there's an escalation. What if there's chemical weapons used? Oh, well, I mean, that would necessitate a response.
Yeah, well,
which is what?
Yeah.
Things get... You listen to everything that gets spoken by all these leaders, and it starts getting wobbly quick. And the wobbly bit is what emboldens Putin to act. Here's Boris Johnson.
Today I've announced that we in the UK will send an additional 6,000 missiles and provide £25 million in unrestricted funding for Ukraine's armed forces, more than doubling the lethal aid we've provided to date. We're bolstering our support for the NATO countries on the front line, sending a new deployment of UK troops to Bulgaria on top of doubling our troops both in Poland and in Estonia. The message that President Putin can take from today's extraordinary meeting of NATO and the G7 is this: Ukraine is not alone. We stand with the people of Kiev, of Mariupol, of Lviv and Donetsk. And as President Zelensky has said himself, the people of Ukraine will prevail, and Putin must fail, and he will fail.
Russia's already lost more soldiers in Ukraine than it did in the entirety of the war in Afghanistan. They've lost about 15,000 soldiers.
Extraordinary.
They've lost 15 generals in senior military brass.
Dramatic vision too that's been confirmed this morning of a troop ship that was hit on fire and looking in a really bad way in the Black Sea, hit by drones, which are clearly emerging as the story from a defence angle about this entire conflict. How effective drones have been at stopping Russian advances in different theatres too, tanks, troops, and now on the sea as well. Some breaking news. A fourth dose of a COVID vaccine is now recommended by the federal government for everyone over the age of 65. So ATAGI have made it official. Adults 65 and over should receive the fourth jab 4 months after their last booster. They've warned a winter dose is necessary to protect older people against severe illness as the vaccine immunity continues to wane heading into the colder weather.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Well, it's becoming more and more like the annual cold flu jab, isn't it?
Except every 4 months.
Yes, just more frequent.
Yeah, more frequent. So that'll be interesting because we've seen waning interest from the public in terms of how complicit people have been with getting the booster, getting a fourth one. I
just don't
drop
understand
off a little bit.
I do not for the life of me understand that, because I know, like, from talking to people who have had it now, the ones who have had their third shot all seem to fare much better than the people who've only had two shots.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. It was an extraordinary scene on a main British thoroughfare yesterday. A hunt for an escaped prisoner sparked the closure of the M56 and M6 for hours. They were looking for this person, so they just closed the roads off, major roads. People couldn't go anywhere for hours. Some people, though, were lucky enough to be... Your experience was different based on who you were parked near.
No word of a lie. Ice cream van. Serving ice creams on the M56. Oh, best go and get myself a 99.
So, some people happened to be parked next to an ice cream truck, which just decided to open for business. So you had this scene be the equivalent of on the, the down track of the freeway during peak hour. The traffic was so bad, everyone just got up and lined out for an ice cream, and suddenly this bloke did a roaring trade. Just cool. Remarkable. Yeah. Got to be nimble in business,
Absolutely.
I suppose. All right, let's check traffic here in Adelaide, where I suspect there is no such stoppages this morning. The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV shows on at Her Majesty's Theatre Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
Thanks, Will. At Bedford Park, breakdown on the lower section of the Southern Expressway. That's as you're heading inbound this morning. Ovingham works on Torrens Road near Park Terrace continue. That's affecting both directions. Speeds reduced. Got a lane closed as well. And Mile End, you'll find restrictions for works on Henley Beach Road near South Road. That's affecting both directions. A few cameras about too. Collins Parade, Hackham, Fletcher Road, Largs Bay, Hanson Road, Wingfield. At Burbank Homes, you choose the offer. Solar with 10 kilowatt battery, upgrades or cash back. Only 1K deposit gets you started. T's and C's apply. Burbank.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Afternoons with Jade Robran.
I'm really excited about this. Nick Xenophon, he's making his political comeback. He's standing for the Senate and he joins us now. This is good news. Are you ready for the fight?
I do it with both humility and some trepidation. I think politics has gotten nastier, more vicious in the last few years, and that's not good for the soul of the country.
Jade Robran.
But I think there are a lot of issues out there that need advocacy.
Weekday afternoons from 1:30 on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA.
Peaceful living awaits at the 19th at West, with golf course views, tree-lined walking trails and a cafe and retail shopping precinct opening soon. The best of the West is at your fingertips, with new 3 and 4 bedroom designs and prices beginning from just $730K. It's no surprise 19th at West is selling quickly. Discover the new collection today. The19thwest.com.au. Delivered by Commercial and General, proudly creating South Australian communities for 25 years.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words. Fluorio Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, Fluorio Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers, and for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words. Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
If you want to build a new home, something that reflects you and your lifestyle, speak with Beechwood Homes. And just so you know, they won't try and sell you a house plan. In fact, there's no house plans until you tell them what you want. So go for it. Start thinking of all the possibilities, or get in touch with Beechwood Homes for a few thought starters. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. For inspiration, visit the stunning Beechwood Homes display home in Blackwood Park.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. When you buy a Leader computer, you're buying a computer made right here in Adelaide. You're dealing with people that live in Adelaide, and when it comes to servicing or support, it all happens here in Adelaide. Not overseas, not interstate. Unlike some others, Leader don't have to send anything off for repair. They take care of everything right here. It makes sense to live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
Now, it's 1 year tomorrow since, very sadly, we lost the most famous baker in South Australia and possibly the nation, if not the world. Of course, we're talking about the late and great Adelaide icon, Villi.
That's right. The Villi legacy lives on with Josh Millicets, now at the helm. Josh, the first grandson of Villi, also the 3rd generation to lead Villi's family bakery. We're going to chat with him in just a moment, in fact. Together with family and staff at his side, Josh will ensure that Villi's continues to produce the same quality products his grandfather developed decades ago.
Well, he's doing that. I can vouch for that. I just ate 2 of them. I had a party pie.
You eaten them already?
And a party pasty, yeah.
That was like a magic trick. They were here one minute and they're gone the next.
I just inhaled them both. Now, Josh has been quoted as saying, "We certainly miss Grandpa's experience and his knowledge around the bakery, but more importantly, we also miss his cheeky banter and his infectious laughter. But we'd also like to celebrate his amazing life and his contribution to the state."
We can all celebrate the life of Villi tomorrow by dropping into your supermarket, deli or cafe de Villi's and enjoy a Villi's treat. And as Villi used to say, if it hasn't got a V, it ain't me.
G'day, it's Jared for Southern Mitsubishi. Thinking Mitsubishi or servicing your existing car? Southern Mitsubishi is your absolute go-to. Their state-of-the-art servicing technology and world-class quality control systems will ensure your vehicle gives you many years of hassle-free motoring pleasure. The same goes for buying a new Mitsubishi. They stock the full range, all designed to thrill. So get in touch with the amazing team at Southern Mitsubishi, 147 Main South Road, Morfett Vale, driven by Australian Motors. LVD 80.
We don't just say we're local, we are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 after 7, we're about to make someone's weekend, I suspect. Lucy is in the 5AA Breakfast studio. We're about to chat with Josh Millicets, the 3rd generation Villi, basically. Villi's grandson. Talk about honouring Villi's legacy. And Lucy's just presented this incredible hamper full of hot cross buns and Villi's products, and she's doing her best Barrel Girl impersonation at the moment on the 5AA Facebook live stream. Look, there it is. Look at that. You could have had another career if you so wanted.
It's like Adriana Xenophon.
It really was, wasn't it?
Come back to life.
Yeah,
terrific.
Choose from one of these items. Magnificent work, Luce, in the representing the Adelaide Law too, in the jumper there. That's very good. Now, what we want to do really out of this chat today is get people to celebrate this wonderful South Australian brand, Villi's, by buying a pie or whatever it might be, a product tomorrow, and toasting the great Villi. Josh Millicets is on the line and joins us now. Josh, good morning to you, mate.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're good, thanks, Josh. I'll tell you what, it doesn't feel like a year since your grandfather passed away, I must admit, I know one of your bakers, Sam. Our kids go to the same school together, and I remember talking to him last year, and he said, even though he's not a blood relative of your late grandfather, that for everyone who works at Villi's, it felt like like their own family member had died.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's definitely gone. It's been a very quick year. I was actually talking about that with someone at work the other day. That I can't believe that it's already been a year. Everyone misses him so much, and not just obviously his experience. Just that charisma that he brought to work every day.
Yeah, the thing that I find amazing about your grandpa was you sort of describe him as a crazy brave businessman, because when he started the business, it wasn't like you couldn't get a pie, pasty or sausage roll in Adelaide. Like, you think about it, every suburb has at least one bakery, and then you had well-established major bakeries here. How did he do it? Because it sort of immediately became such a successful business. It was an incredible story in a business sense.
It was, yeah. I think well, there's a bit of a backstory behind it, really, but his sister actually started a deli style sort of thing, and they're making all this European food, and every day, these traders would come in, and I was like, oh, I'll just get a pie and a Coke, thanks. And she said, I've got all this beautiful food here, and I'm like, no, I'll just have a pie and a Coke. So she actually came to Villi and said, you got to start making these. You got to do this. This is the future, and that's what happened. And you just kind of put those European style family recipes into that, famous flaky pastry we do, and it just thrives. Yeah.
Now you're at the helm, Josh. No temptation to do anything crazy. I mean, it was called Villi's. You don't want to change it to Josh's. If it's not a J, it's not an E. That type of thing. No. Okay, right. What are the rules around sort of recipes and the making of all your great products? Is it? Do you get laughed out of the room if someone says, I reckon we can tweak this? I mean, do they sort of time honoured and guarded and all that kind of stuff?
It's very family orientated with our recipes. And my father, he's actually developed quite a few of the recipes. Such as got a nacho pie and a Thai green chicken curry pie. He actually developed those from scratch, and then we, kind of upscale those and push them through, and they've been very successful. So,
have you got a favourite, Josh? I've got to say about. At least once a fortnight, I sneak down to my local Foodland and buy one of the Hungarian goulash pies. I love that pie.
Yeah, they're a hit. They're a hit. I'd have to say my favourite probably be just the classic steak and mushroom. It's unbeatable. It's delicious.
Yeah. Well, mate, good on you for keeping the legacy of your grandfather alive. It's just such a great South Australian business. We love the relationship we have with you at FIVEaa. And, 1 year on, let's celebrate the remarkable life of Villi. Good on you, Josh. Thank you.
Josh Millicet's third generation at Villi's, and we have this wonderful hamper to give away to the first caller through right now. This has got your weekend sorted food-wise. 8223 0055, and probably a bit beyond, I reckon. It's absolutely massive. First caller through, we'll happily give it to 8223 0055 is the number to call. Let's talk sport. Stephen Rose show last night. Book your service online at North Point Total to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. He caught up with Caro.
Hello, Caro. Footy o'clock again.
My lord, I bully you.
Yeah, apparently. Well, you couldn't say I bully you.
Oh, you were pretty mean to me on my first show back this year, but I've forgiven you, particularly on a night like tonight.
The tribunal, are you as confused as me? The bloke that should have got off didn't. The bloke that did didn't.
Oh, look, and Michael Voss had a different view when we had him on Footy Classified last night. He thought the Willie Rioli decision, 1 week to none, was right. But Sam Draper, fair dinkum, I know that's not as serious, but why say they're going to crack down on punching? I don't know where Michael Christian was coming from in that one.
Whatever.
Okay. Book your next service.
Hey, I've got some sports news.
Hang on. Book your next service online. North Point Total to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. What do you got?
A big shout out to Reece Nagerman making his AFL goal umpiring debut in the Port Hawthorn game this weekend. Adelaide's own Reece.
Oh, good on you, Reece.
Behind the big wide uprights with the old laboratory coat on.
Yeah.
They don't wear the lab coat anymore.
No,
do
they've got the sharp fluoro. More of a tight
back
fit.
The lab coat.
Yeah.
It was sort of like a butcher's coat,
It
wasn't
was bizarre, wasn't it? I thought they were going to get blood. Maybe, I mean, it did reflect the era where you might get a blood spatter on you if you were, on the field of play.
That's my story of the round. Reece Nagerman, on debut, AFL goal umpiring, Port Hawthorn. Good luck, mate.
Good on you, Reece, and congrats to Anna in Paradise, who's won the Villi's hamper as well. 5AA News on the way. Phil Curry in the nation's capital shortly.
Every day, they tell you their news is local. And every day, they bring you news made in Sydney. Watch the news you can trust. Adelaide's 7 News, made right here. Mornings, afternoons, and 6 p.m. every night.
It's okay to want more, which is why more and more people choose Mawson Lakes Volkswagen to service their car, especially Volkswagen owners. At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we offer state-of-the-art servicing, complimentary loan cards, next-day servicing, and breakfast or lunch is on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au and book your service today.
Now, this is big. Construction at 88 O'Connell in North Adelaide starts in April. Architecturally designed by Woods Bagot and developed by the great people at Commercial and General, 88 O'Connell is seriously one of the most incredible developments in Adelaide for a very long time.
And that means there's only days remaining to view the fabulous full-size 2-bedroom apartment on site, as it must close after Friday, 1st of April, to prepare for construction. It's your last chance to see and feel what these incredible apartments will be like. Pop in and see Georgie Tarnby or call her to make an appointment. Check the 88 O'Connell website for opening times.
I was there for the launch and I've checked it out, and it really is stunning, this apartment. But they've got 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments with car parks, and they're still available, selling from just $545K. Follow 88 O'Connell on Facebook for construction updates. Proudly developed by Commercial and General, creating South Australian communities for more than 25 years.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 24 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
Fire crews were called to an apartment complex in Durham Street at Glenelg early this morning. Rachel Kinlock from the MFS says they found smoke and water coming from a ground floor apartment.
Cooking that had been left unattended on a stovetop had activated the sprinkler system and put the fire out prior to MFS arrival. The water had also seeped just into doorways of other apartments on the ground floor. The fire has caused damage to the stovetop, exhaust fan and other cabinetry around the stove, and the damage bill has been estimated at $25,000.
And police are investigating a car fire at Sefton Park. The Mazda 121 was reported on fire in a car park on Main North Road. It belonged to a nearby resident and was not stolen. ATAGI has recommended another dose of a COVID vaccine for older Australians. Chris O'Keefe reports.
A 4th dose of vaccine is now recommended by the federal government for everybody over the age of 65. Vaccine Task Force ATAGI has advised that adults 65 and over should receive the 4th jab 4 months after their last booster. It's recommended too for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people over the age of 50, nursing home residents and anyone who is severely immunocompromised. It's understood ATAGI has warned a winter dose is necessary to protect older Australians against severe illness as the vaccine immunity continues to wane heading into the colder weather.
Relaxing close contact rules and mask mandates will be discussed when the state government's new Emergency Management Council meet for the first time today. The council has replaced the COVID Ready Committee. Premier Peter Malinauskas has requested modelling on what impact easing restrictions could have on case numbers. He wants SA's level of restrictions to match the rest of the nation. Stephen Marshall will be celebrating one win from March 19. The former Premier is set to retain the seat of Dunstan. His lead over Labor's Cressida O'Hanlon increased yesterday. The margin is now 462 votes. The Osborne Shipyard will be a big winner in next week's federal budget. Federal Minister for Finance Simon Birmingham explains.
We're going to take the Osborne Shipyard from currently 20 hectares to 65 hectares in securing land potentially necessary for the huge undertaking of building the next generation of submarines here in Adelaide.
The budget will be handed down on Tuesday. NATO leaders have agreed to send further support to Ukraine and examine increased sanctions against the Kremlin in response to the ongoing Russian invasion. US President Joe Biden has met with European leaders to discuss the deadly conflict. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the leaders are united in condemning the violence.
The United Kingdom and our allies in NATO and the G7 here today are clear. We will not stand by while Putin vents his fury on Ukraine.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide is set to blood two debutants with Josh Sin and Sam Skinner set to play in tomorrow night's match against Hawthorn. Aaliyah and Robbie Gray will both miss as they're injured. Adelaide has brought in Lockie Golland, Luke Pedler and Braden Cook for tomorrow's match against Collingwood at the MCG. Wayne Miller and Riley Thilthorpe have been dropped, along with Jake Saligo, while Andrew McPherson has a hamstring injury. Last night, Carlton beat the Western Bulldogs by 12 points. The Blues were missing their coach Michael Voss due to COVID rules, but caretaker coach Ash Hansen says Voss still had some input.
He was listening in, so he'd say, yep, completely agree, go do it. A couple of times I think the line was breaking up. He was getting a little bit frustrated that he couldn't hear everything that was going on, but he put full trust in us, and it was a great experience to work with the other guys.
Yeah, great result for them. Well, Australia needs 10 wickets on the final day of the third test against Pakistan in Lahore, with the home side set to resume at none for 73. They need another 278 runs to win. Meantime, stand-in South Aussie skipper Henry Hunt has given the Redbacks a fighting chance of claiming their first Shield win for the season. New South Wales made 294 in its first innings, and the Redbacks were in trouble at 5 for 98, but recovered thanks largely to Hunt, who brought up his century late in the day.
Driven, Henry Hunt, 100 for the South Australian skipper, his 6th in first-class cricket.
Audio thanks to KO. Hunt will resume day 3 on 107, while Harry Nilsson will join him at the crease on 52. SA now 5 for 219. And the Socceroos' disappointing World Cup qualifying campaign has continued after a 2-0 loss at home against Japan. It means they won't automatically qualify for the World Cup. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
At North Adelaide, crash on 10th Street near O'Connell Street. Bedford Park, breakdown on the lower section of the Southern Expressway. It's actually heading inbound. Chain of Ponds, motorcycle crash on North East Road at South Para Road. And Torrensville, look out for a previous car rollover, Henley Beach Road near Marion Road. Cameras, Hanson Road, Mansfield Park and Lander Road at Shadow Park. Want to trade financial markets? Trade with CMC Markets, the trusted trading platform for over 30 years. Trade your way at cmcmarkets.com. All trading involves risk. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
Mostly sunny, 24 today, sunny tomorrow, 28. Sunday, mostly sunny and 30. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles have just landed an all-new hybrid range of classic oak flooring. This amazing, fully waterproof Timberlook classic oak flooring comes in extra long planks, just like the real thing. DIY this fabulous all-new oak flooring for under $60 per metre, or we'll lay it for you for just $27 per metre more. So check out National Tiles' all-new classic oak flooring in-store or at nationaltiles.com.au now.
Hi, I'm Lorraine from O'Brien Glass, Adelaide. Accidents happen. And when it's broken glass, it's important to fix it quickly. Our team of local experts can be contacted 24/7 for emergency glass replacement services in your home or business. Our glaziers have over 160 years of combined experience, so you can rest assured you're in good hands. Trust your local O'Brien experts. Call 13 16 16 now.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 8, John Blake on the way before 8 o'clock. Then after 8 today, Orazio Fantasia from the Port Adelaide Football Club. We were joking last week. We got sick of talking to Orazio about his injury. we didn't think the tonic was going to be getting to talk to him about everyone else's injuries at Port Adelaide. We're kind of hoping that just that topic would be off limits, but we'll broach it with him. With it comes some opportunity, so there'll be a couple of debutants this weekend, and looking forward to chatting with Orazio about that. Also, after 8:30 today, Premier Peter Malinauskas on the suggestions that we should have an extra week of school holidays to alleviate some of the burden on teachers and schools at the moment with COVID running rife through them. Lots of texts on that front as well.
One here from Michelle that simply says, I wonder if nurses are tired. That's a fair question to ask, I think, Michelle. I reckon our next guest, I'm not sure if he's received this invite on Facebook. It says 2022 Grand Final, TBA versus Carlton, MCG, Melbourne, Victoria. Don't go getting ahead of yourself, Phil, but 2 from 2. First time that's happened in a while.
Yeah, since I was about 5. She was a nail biter last night, but good credit to them. They dug in and held on, and there's something there that's not been there for 20 years. So like you said, one's swallowed is not a summer maker, neither does 2. But I'm feeling a bit up and about, I must say. It's good.
Yeah, they look like genuine contenders. It's good. It's only taken, as you say, 5 decades, but not quite that long. But Phil, I wanted to talk to you about this story. Will and I were chatting about this in the ad break before. This China Solomon Island deal is remarkable. Can you just walk it through us for our listeners?
Yeah, look, it's been a concern for many years that. We know that China has sort of got expansionist, goals, and it's already taken over the South China Sea and built all those islands and bases there. And then probably about 6-7 years ago, it really started moving beyond that into our backyard, trying to set up a presence or in islands like Vanuatu, Fiji, Solomon Islands, just trying to curry favour with those governments. They use a process called debt entrapment where they build them bridges and roads and stuff, and then suddenly, these countries are in their debt. And so it was just after Morrison became Prime Minister around that time, him and Turnbull announced this thing called the Pacific Step Up. So we were increasing our diplomatic and aid efforts and everything in the Pacific to try and push back at this. Now, over the years, we've done things like, fund an underground cable, telecommunications cable to Papua New Guinea because the Chinese were going to build it, so we got in first and did it. We headed off plans for the Chinese to establish a naval base in Vanuatu. And what happened yesterday was someone in the Solomon Islands, and it's clearly it's divisive within that government, leaked a draft security agreement between the Solomon Island government and China, and that would be for China to send troops, police, all sorts of things to the Solomon under the so-called guise of protecting Chinese assets as well as keeping the peace there. And this would involve the establishment of a naval base, so you're going to have a full Chinese military base 2,000 k's off our coast. And this is probably the most threatening development so far of this whole Pacific push. And the government went into meltdown last night upon the leaking of this document, and they reminded the Solomon Islands that we've been keeping the peace there for you for 20 years. Remember, we had all those military police, and then only last November we sent about 80 over because there was a bit of unrest, and then overnight we announced we're going to make that latest deployment permanent for another year. So it's really this push and pull. There was the tsunami in Tonga back in January. We sent a warship over there, the HMAS Adelaide, full of emergency supplies and stuff, and the Chinese sent 2 massive ships over as well. And it's this competition for hearts and minds in the Pacific, and I guess, and the Chinese intention is basically more than just hearts and minds. It's military expansionism, so it's quite serious.
Chinese troop station there would just change the strategic environment entirely, and I just wonder, Phil, I mean, it's premature as we say this is a draft agreement, but our entire defence posture is built on this idea of our ability to cooperate with our defence partners in theatres well away from Australia. Like everything we buy and build, the idea is we're going to confront this thing before it ever gets to Australia, if that were the case. If you've got a base with our greatest regional rival just 2,000 k's away, suddenly everything has to be reimagined, doesn't it?
Well, that's right, and it's just this sort of, and this is what the government's sort of been warning about. Russia is, one half of this equation. Both the Chinese and the Russians are in cahoots with each other, and you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And we've got to be mindful of China's plans in the region. I guess their first target's Taiwan, but no, that's right. It's just it's getting quite tense, and it's been like this for a while. And this is just probably the most significant development in some time. But of course, the Americans are involved, the Japanese, the South Koreans. This is why we formed formed this thing called the Quad, the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, to sort of team up with the Indians and the Japanese and the Americans to try and push back at this. But it's a real game of chess at the moment, and as you said, every time someone takes a piece, it makes you rethink your strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Great analysis, as always.
Phil, before we let you go, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are from Interstate on the Xenophon comeback. Do you think there's a chance?
Look, Dave, you broke this story last year, I think, in the Oz, one of those non-committals from Nick. I spoke to him a week ago because this really started to get legs, this rumour, and I got an old dad in a nursing home and a young son, and and I haven't made up my mind. And all.
Then the website went live yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, he knew damn well he was going to run. So, look, there wasn't a great deal of joy over here at Nick returning, because he was a lot of fun. He's a good guy and he means well, but he was probably the most indecisive senator ever. That routine of his of waiting for everyone to make up their mind and then he'd drag it out for weeks. But look, he's got a good chance because there's two spots on your Senate ticket back there, with both Rex Patrick and Sterling Griff being up, and they were his old ticket. So there's a gap there. But look, whether you'd know better than me, he was pretty soundly rejected in 2018 when he tried to come back and run for state politics, and whether the old magic's there. He hasn't got much time to make a case. And look, we're just speaking of China. Nick, when he went back to the law, represented Huawei, and that's been talked about a lot over here. Now, Huawei is deemed as a national security risk. They were banned from the 5G mobile phone contract because they were seen as an agent of the Chinese government. And Nick, he's a lawyer. He represented them. That's what lawyers do. It doesn't mean he supports or otherwise. But a few people were pointing out that yesterday, and I expect to hear more of that. I would, if his run becomes serious.
We've had a couple of unsolicited texts along those very lines this morning on the old Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Good on you, Phil. Phil Curry, the national political editor for the Financial Review. Thanks, mate.
It's 15 minutes to 8. The meat tray today is inspired by Nick Xenophon's political comeback, and it's provided thanks to Dane at Blackwood Country Meats, team serving premium quality meat for over 60 years there on Main Road at Blackwood, 248 Main Road at Blackwood. Greg in West Croydon, what's your comeback?
Good morning, guys. Well, it's like this. He was crucified, buried, and resurrected 2 days later. It's got to be Jesus.
Yeah, that is one hell of a comeback.
Yeah, it's oft-told.
Can't keep a good man down.
Sometimes the scale of the comeback is about how many people know about it.
Yeah, well, plenty of people do know about it.
People are across that one, which
I like that.
I lend weight to it. David and McGill, good morning.
Good morning. My comeback inspired a great movie, and also inspired a former Prime Minister to say, anyone who had a sick day is a bum. And that 1983 America's Cup, all gone 3-1 after 3 races. The Americans were 3, we were 1. Then we won races 5 and 6, and the rest is history, boys. we got it.
David, your excitement took me there.
I feel like it was 1983 all over again.
David's still on a high, I think.
Oh yes, loves his yachting.
39 years later, he's still fired up.
It was a great school camp. I was in sitting around a campfire in Cape Jervis, listening to that on a transistor radio.
They never lost, had they? The US. That was the sort
never.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
All right, let's check traffic. The Robertson Brothers 1960s Variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
Thanks, Will. North Adelaide, crash on 10th Street near O'Connell Street. Bedford Park, breakdown in the lower section of the Southern Expressway as you're heading inbound. China Ponds, motorcycle crash there, North East Road at South Para Road. And Gilman, traffic lights playing up on the Port River Expressway. Cameras this morning, Collins Parade, Hackham, Hanson Road, Winkfield, Lander Road, Shadow Park. The Reject Shop has all your Easter holiday savings. Easter eggs and confectionery from just $1. Easter decorations from just $2. Don't miss out. Hurry into the Reject Shop today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Nothing beats that new car experience. And you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family. And Jarvis have stock ready for immediate delivery. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger Hybrid at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
I used to think a good day on the golf course was coming home with more than one golf ball, but my game has really stepped up thanks to Shane from Drummond Golf.
Hi Tom, how's the handicap going?
Well, I've been personally my-matched by you, and I'm hitting longer, straighter and higher than I ever have before. You and your team have really got my game sorted.
We want people to love golf as much as we do. Just like we did for you, Tom, we put you through the My Match process to pick the right clubs for you. We also do lessons at the driving range and kit them out in the best gear, all aimed to reduce their handicap.
Well, it has worked a treat for me. I cannot recommend it enough. Go and see the team at Drummond Golf. Thank you again, Shane. Enfield, Darlington, Myland, Tetra Gully and the West Beach driving range.
Sold by McGain again.
And as we keep hearing, homes are still selling quickly at the moment, so it's important to get along to these open inspections.
It really is. Tomorrow from 12 to 12:30, Karen Hoyer is opening 40 Murray's Hill Road, Coromandel Valley. This immaculate home, located among the treetops of Coromandel Valley, features 3 bedrooms, a generous-sized outdoor entertainment area, complete with its own walking trail. How about that? Leads to your own Barley hut. Oh, thank you very much. 659 to 719K.
What about that? Sit out the back, wearing your bintang singlet, pretending you're in, Nusa Dua.
Magnificent.
Sounds all right. Also tomorrow from 1 to 1:30pm, Andrew Boswell is also opening 5 Will Street, Hackham. Now, this is a really good first home or investment, absolute blank canvas down here in Hackham. It features a formal lounge, 3 bedrooms, heating and cooling, lock-up carport, and easy access to local shops and McLaren Vale, such a great part of the south. $395 to $425K.
For all the info, take a look at these properties and all the McGain listings at mcgain.com.au.
Do you think a concert pianist needs a builder's licence? No. Does a chartered accountant need one? Nah. Okay, then what about a house inspector? This will surprise you. Right now, there are no regulations in the industry that say you must be a builder to become a house inspector. Mike Pearl from House Inspect Australia is a third-generation licensed builder, and his team is the most qualified team in Australia for house inspections. It's the biggest purchase decision of your life. Don't risk it. Go to houseinspectaustralia.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 to 8, John Blake coming up in just a moment.
How Do I Get You Alone? What a song by Heart.
This has the rock cadence that makes me think you've built this one out before.
It's got everything. Kettle drums.
Well,
not enough kettle drums in music.
That is everything. You're right. Yeah. We have free fuel to give away. That's everything too. I don't know why things have really. We've spun off into a different orbit in the last 15 minutes.
That's right.
Now
Friday giggliness.
Yeah, it sometimes just gets the better of you, doesn't it?
It does.
Thanks to McGain Real Estate, massive supporters of local. Sold by McGain again. We're giving away $100 worth of free fuel. The great news about this is we were fearing it might end this week. McGain are back on board.
They live to give.
They're too generous.
They are.
I shouldn't say that. They're the right amount of generous.
Yes.
For the 5AA listening audience.
In all sincerity, we couldn't do these wallet-relieving competitions aimed at helping our listeners without the help of people like McGain. So
absolutely right.
Big thanks to everyone there.
McGain Real Estate, massive supporters of local. Sold by McGain. Again, 8223 Tanks, Dave and Will. You know the rules by now.
Yeah.
That's what you need to say.
Tanks,
The clue is in the name. Tanks, David and Will.
It's that easy.
Say that and nothing else and you get $100 worth of free fuel, which we'll do Fuel Watch a little bit later. Things are trending in the right direction, albeit, did you see the piece from the RAA in the last 48 hours? Fuel has come down markedly around the country, but nowhere has it gone down less than here in South Australia.
Why is that?
It's a great question. I'm not so sure. The reality is the oil price, the price of the pumps reflected the barrel reasonably well, but here in Adelaide we're laggards for whatever reason. All right, it's time for Tanks, Dave and Will. I think we've got a caller on the line. Good morning.
Tanks, Dave and Will.
Oh, yes. Superb. $100 worth of free fuel coming your way. What was your name?
Pat.
Good on you, Pat.
How are you going, Pat? How's your petrol tank looking at the moment?
Pretty scarce at the moment, so it's great. Yeah.
Have you had to fill up since Vlad Putin pushed up prices?
Fill up? No. Just just get a bit each week, and that's about it.
What's the small amount you put in, Pat? How little have you been sort of doing to try and avoid it?
I just put in $20 at a time, thinking, there's going to be a special on, but no, not happening. So, this is great.
Oh, good stuff.
Nice start to the weekend.
You can fill right up now, Pat. That's good.
Yep. Thank you.
No, not
at all.
Pat. Big thanks to McGain as well. And again, as we say, we'll be doing it next week. $100 worth of free fuel each and every day on 5AA Breakfast.
Talking about comebacks and sequels inspired by Nick Xenophon this morning. One here on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. A lot of them are sports related.
Yes.
Helen says biggest comeback was Andre Agassi.
Oh, yeah.
Legend.
The Las Vegas Kid.
That's
he lost
right.
the hair and he became a different player.
That's right, he did, didn't he? Didn't he go with Brooke Shields? Weren't they married?
Yeah.
That's right. Ash Barty has been nominated here. Greatest comeback after her cricket hiatus. Comes back and wins 2 Grand Slams. I like this one from Nathan in Eden Hills. I remember this game so well. Me and Kate and the kids were all in Canberra that day. Regarding comebacks, round 9, 2013, Adelaide Crows v North Melbourne match where the Crows finally hit the front by 1 point. Petrenko!
Oh, Petrenko, yeah.
Seconds remaining on the clock, which is pretty outstanding. The other feature of that game too, and how appropriate that was Jared Petrenko who kicked the goal, was that it was the Indigenous round.
That was unbelievable, that game. That made no sense. That was just the most bizarre comeback I can ever remember in footy.
I reckon we stopped watching it. We were so annoyed with it.
Well, it was over.
Oh, yeah. It was like...
On the basis of every game of footy you've ever watched in your life, that was over.
It was crazy, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. All right, it is time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Well, everyone's in shock this week because the Barty party is over, and good on Ash Barty for having the sense to sit back and enjoy what she's achieved. She's Ash Barty, and she can retire if she wants to.
I'm Ash Barty, I'll retire if I want to, retire if I want to, retire if I want to. You would too if you had the millions I do. I'm just gonna pack it in, hang up my ragamuffin. I don't need to hear them applaud. I'm gonna have a good time. I've got more money than God. I'm Ash Barty, I'll retire if I want to, retire if I want to, retire if I want to. You would too if you could buy the things that I do. I'm Ash Barty, I'll retire if I want to, retire if I want to, retire if I want to. You would too if you could buy an island or two.
Also this week we had an election, and the counting in former Premier Stephen Marshall's seat of Dunstan is still going on and looking doubtful. So here's a little story. To tell it is a must, about a former Premier who's winning but only just.
Oh, Marshall man in Dunstan, he's putting up a fight. But there's no doubt the Labour Party's giving him a fright. He used to be the Premier, he had it in his clench. But now he might have to yell and scream and cry from the backbench. I say.
What do you say?
Did you know that an anagram of Marshall is harms all?
Oh, really? Did you know that an anagram of Malinauskas is unmask alias?
Oh.
Or sauna milk ass?
Yeah, okay.
Disappointing, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh, Marshall man in Dunstan, he may not win the fight, but time will tell us counting all the votes goes on all night. If things don't go to plan, his whole career is on the rocks. So he's making plans to open a brand new walk in a box. Oh, there's a man in Dunstan, a seat where he's been sat. But now it's looking shaky and he's feeling kind of flat. You'd think he'd had enough of all the backstabs and the fear. Who'd blame him if he wanted to get the fuck out of
More from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Hey, also coming up a little bit later in the day, if you love your food, be listening to Jade Robran after 3 o'clock today, where Chris Jarma... this segment is great. Chris Jarma joins her for the 5AA Food and Wine Show, thanks to Smeg. Building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg and sip and save. He takes you through a whole recipe, and you can watch on... I've seen the videos they put up via the live stream. It's really cool.
Chris and I, we text each other constantly. I made a pork schnitty the other night with salsa verde on it and a fried egg and some anchovy. There's some more material for you, John Blake.
Yeah.
And I texted
that was two of John Blake's favourite thing. You name-dropped a text and talked about a recipe all in one.
No, but we've got this sort of back and forth thing. Chris sent me a picture the other night of a brisket that he'd done, and then we had those brisket pizzas.
Oh my goodness, they are something.
But it's good when you get to know someone in that line of work so well, because like a few times
David,
the other night with the schnitty, I said, "Oh mate, I'm trying to channel my inner Chris Jarmer. What do you think?"
That's like having a friend who's a doctor and going, "Look, I know you're not working, but do you reckon this is?
I've got a lump on the knee.
Do you reckon is that all right? That spot?"
Right, exactly.
5AA News is coming up, breaking at 8 in just a moment.
We're taking the next step, and Australia's economic plan is helping. Investments in defence shipbuilding and the North-South Corridor are creating jobs, and skilling the workforce will fill the jobs of the future. Today, the plan keeps taxes low and delivers affordable, reliable energy, and that's good for all Australians. For more about Australia's economic plan, visit economicplan.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Hi, I'm Victoria from The Family Cook. I'm passionate about cooking wholesome, fresh and delicious meals. We're the only meal delivery service based in South Australia using hand-selected premium ingredients such as free-range chicken, grass-fed beef, Australian fish and locally sourced vegetables and herbs. Our customers love it, and I can guarantee you'll love it too. And we're proudly an NDIS provider. Jump on board thefamilycook.com.au.
Now, apart from buying a home, an in-ground pool is probably one of the bigger investments you will ever make. So just like buying a home, you've got to do your research like we did. Make sure you're dealing with a reputable pool company, one that does things by the book and consistently wins awards. Now, we settled on Rainwise, and I tell you, easily one of the best decisions we've ever made as a family, because they were a clear standout, especially with over 15 years in the business.
Yeah, the other huge bonus is that Rainwise Pools, they do everything for you, including the council approval, the landscaping, pool fencing, the kind of things you think, oh, that might be a headache. Don't worry about it. They take care of it for you.
I know, it's total peace of mind. They make it so easy. But look, in all seriousness, the best thing about dealing with the people at Rainwise, I'm talking here about Ross and Darren, and also particularly their operations manager, Michael, who's just like the most fastidious bloke. We love the fact that they're like a tight-knit, local South Aussie family business, which means that they're really driven by family values.
If you're thinking of a pool, just be aware that 2022 spots are filling fast at Rainwise Pools, so don't wait. Get in touch now. Visit rainwisepoolsadelaide.com.au.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they're offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 24 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
Older Australians are now being encouraged to get a 4th dose of a COVID vaccine. ATAGI is advising people 65 plus to get an additional jab 4 months after their first booster. It's also recommended for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people over the age of 50, nursing home residents and anyone who is severely immunocompromised. The state's new Emergency Management Council will meet today for the first time. Premier Peter Malinauskas wants SA's level of COVID restrictions to match the rest of the nation. On the agenda is close contact rules and mask mandates. COVID numbers have been steadily rising this week. There were more than 4,700 yesterday. Cooking left unattended on a stove sparked a fire at Glenelg early this morning. It broke out in a ground floor apartment in Durham Street. The sprinkler system activated, putting out the fire, but it's caused around $25,000 damage. And there was also a car fire at Sefton Park last night. The Mazda 121 was found burnt out in a car park on Main North Road. It wasn't stolen and belonged to a nearby resident. Police are investigating and have asked anyone who saw anything suspicious to contact them. Police dog Judge has helped arrest a thief at Richmond. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says a resident spotted a man on a bike trying to open car doors.
Patrols cordoned off the area and police dog Judge and his handler snuck up on the suspect. They actually waited and he successfully entered a car in Devon Street and allegedly stole a wallet, and that's when PD Judge and handler pounced. So a 28-year-old man from Glengarry was caught red-handed. He was arrested and charged with illegal interference and theft, and he'll face court today.
The US will welcome 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Michael Genovese has more.
More than 3.5 million people have now fled Ukraine in the month since Russia invaded. The White House says the US will accept 100,000 Ukrainians without needing approval from Congress. President Joe Biden will tour Poland tomorrow, the country now hosting the majority of the refugees.
Adelaide Cabaret Festival Artistic Director Tina Arena has unveiled her full lineup for the 2022 festival. The program features over 90 performances across 12 days and nights from June the 10th. Executive producer Alex Sinclair says there's something for everyone.
We've got circus, we've got comedy, we've got jazz, we've got gospel, we've got orchestral music, we've got musical theatre, we've got folk. We really wanted to bring an eclectic mix of all sorts of performances this year that fit under that Cabaret banner.
The Duchess of Sussex has launched a new podcast. It's called Archetypes and is about female stereotypes. Harry and Meghan have a deal with Spotify. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty. 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And disappointment for the Socceroos, Tom Wren.
Oh, in a massive way, Mel. Unfortunately, they're going to have to do it the hard way if they're going to qualify for this year's World Cup. They lost 2-0 to Japan in Sydney last night, meaning they can't finish higher than third in their group. Coach Graham Arnold telling Channel 10 they'll now use Wednesday's match against Saudi Arabia as a chance to play some younger players.
I think it's a game to give the kids a chance again, and you're giving a lot of kids a chance tonight in a big game, and they're going to learn a lot from the experience.
To make the World Cup, the Socceroos will now have to beat the third-ranked side from Asia's other group, either the UAE or Iraq, before then playing against the fifth-ranked South American side, which is likely to be either Peru, Chile or Uruguay. The hype surrounding Carlton appears to be real after the Blues orchestrated a 12-point win against the Bulldogs last night. Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay with 9 goals between them, while Patrick Cripps picked up 35 touches and booted 2 goals himself. Meantime, the Crows and Port Adelaide will train today ahead of their respective matches tomorrow and tomorrow night. To cricket, Australia faces a tough task to beat Pakistan in the final test in Lahore with 1 day to play. The Aussies declared their second innings at 3 for 227, giving them a lead of 350 runs, but the home side reached none for 73 at stumps. In the NBL, the Brisbane Bullets have beaten the New Zealand Breakers in overtime 101 to 100. Meantime, the Tassie Jack Jumpers upset the Perth Wildcats 85 to 83. And in some tennis to finish, Ash Barty says you never say never, but admits a future return to the tennis court is a long way off in her mind. Meantime, at the Miami Open, Aussie Alexi Poprin has beaten Italy's Lorenzo Musetti in straight sets to advance to the second round, while Jordan Thompson lost the first set against Frenchman Jo-Wilfried Tsonga. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
At North Adelaide, there's a crash on 10th Street near O'Connell Street causing delays. Gilman, traffic lights playing up on the Port River Expressway and Torrensville. Look out for a previous car rollover, Henley Beach Road near Marion Road. Busy this morning, Montague Road, Mawson Lakes Boulevard to Port Wakefield Road with cameras Lander Road, Shadow Park, Military Road at Taparoo. Global superstar Michael Bublé is bringing his Hire tour to the Adelaide Entertainment Centre Sunday, December 11. Don't miss out. Tickets on sale next Friday at Ticketek. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
24, mostly sunny for your Friday. For the weekend, sunny tomorrow 28 and 30 on Sunday. Right now it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8. Coming up after 8:30, the Premier of South Australia will join us. We'll talk about the prospect of An extra week of holidays to help schools ride out the COVID wave that's crashing through at the moment. Behind closed doors, we've got a meat tray to give away as well, thanks to the great people at Blackwood Country Meats. They're at 248 Main Road in Blackwood. Australian-grown quality meats. Dane and the team do a wonderful job. Our next guest, in fact, has inspired the Meat Tray Friday question this morning as we're talking about great comebacks. I like this text that says, when we're talking about comebacks, and this is my entirely unbiased opinion on this, David, surely Reggie Miller versus the Knicks is amazing. Well, look, if you mean amazing in the sense that the greatest sporting moment of all time, then that text would be my favourite that we've ever received on the program. Thank you for that.
Reggie Miller.
That's tremendous.
Who's he?
Just all you need to know, he's the greatest of all time, David. That's all you need to know.
Basketball.
Exactly right. All right. Other texts for comebacks. And this one, we talked about career-limiting moves with the health minister. The chief executive of health the other day, David. You talked about that press conference.
Bummer of a birthmark, Hal.
Our producer, Sam, has sent through a text. He says the greatest comeback of all time, the Montfrees bounce. It came back from the points post. See, we had a long period where we didn't have any Port fans working on this program, and we've been infiltrated, and we've been eroded. We had Jane for years. Yeah.
Jane used to love it on Monday mornings post-showdown. She'd come in here and give us plenty of lip.
Well,
Sam.
Jane had a great career up until that point.
Sam.
Now Sam.
Hey, one in all seriousness that I totally agree with, Jason McCartney.
Incredible
After
comeback.
the Bali
Great
bombings.
moment too. He kicked the goal, played well, and everyone thought, he can go on with that. And he said, no, I'm done. That's enough for me.
He said, I'm spent.
Yeah.
I was crying like a baby watching that game.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
It was one of the best things I've ever seen in sport. And it makes you think how utterly overused and wrongly used the word hero is in sport.
Yep.
But that was heroism.
Totally.
Total heroism.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, it's time for Breaking at 8.
Well, we thought we'd give Breaking at 8 over to the man who has generated more than his fair share of headlines over the years. And he did it again yesterday, where after an extended period of hair twirling and umming and ahhing and on again, off again, he finally said, yep, I'm doing it. I'm having a crack. Nick Xenophon running for the Senate. Again, Nick, good morning.
Good morning. I think my hair's too short to twirl nowadays. I'll give the hair twirling a miss. Don't remind me. PTSD. Look, great to be with you. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll give it my best shot because I do give a damn on a whole range of issues that I don't think are being covered. People aren't being advocated for as they should be. But I've got to have a bit of a go at Phil Curry, who is one of my favourite journalists, who's a top bloke. When he said earlier on your program that, they're not looking forward to me coming back to Canberra because I'm so indecisive. Well, that's crap. The fact is, I hold out on issues so I can get the best deal for South Australia. I won't make just make decisions based on ideology. And by holding out, he calls it indecisive. I call it holding out to get the best deal for the state. One of the reasons why we're going to have a proton therapy centre in South Australia, the first of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere, which will save hundreds, if not thousands, of lives in the years to come, is because, with the team I was part of, we held out to get that money for South Australia, and that's just one of many examples.
Logistically, Nick, have you left your run too late? Because your name's not even going to be above the ticket, because you're not actually a party. You're just Nick Xenophon, citizen running this time, really, aren't you?
Yeah, Citizen X. But
Citizen X.
The situation is this, and it's misleading for people to say that they'll have to vote for me below the line. Not so. The position is this. I will have a letter of the alphabet allocated. I'll be above the line in the sense that I'll be allocated a letter. I don't know what that letter will be. I'm hoping it's X, because there's a draw once all the nominations close, and I just have to let people know it's being done. It's only been done once before in Australian political history, and that was in 2007 when I ran for the Senate, and enough people voted for me back then to get a full quota, even though back then I was, letter S above the line. But I got the message across, and I got across the line.
So what was the tipping point, Nick, for you? What was the issue that's got you to throw your hat back in the ring?
Well, a whole range of issues, and I blame Penberthy because he was covering the Ugg boot story, where that to me is symbolic of how Australia has dropped the ball in standing up for Australia overseas with Ugg boots, about this little Aussie battler who just got done over by an American multinational. I've represented him for free, basically, for the last few years since I got out of politics. So it really is a case of fighting for manufacturing, but also the experience I've had. I know Phil had a bit of a dig about my old man being in aged care, but it's been an eye-opener putting one of your parents being in aged care in the system, or both parents in their 90s, and a lot more needs to be done. These are issues that we're not hearing enough clear advocacy for. And of course, there's the issue that got me involved in politics in the first place of gambling. A lot of people are still getting hurt by it, and online gambling, I think, has got out of control with sports betting. So there's a whole range of issues, whether it's aged care, with health. Post-pandemic, how are we going to recover as an economy? And I just want to be that pesky, persistent bastard that will advocate for people, for South Australia, on local issues, and to, call out the major parties when they don't give a damn.
Nick, since you left federal politics, the relationship between Australia and China has deteriorated to the point of open hostility. Can you just clarify the nature of the relationship that you have or had with Huawei? Because it is something that some people unsolicited have sent in negative texts about this morning, asking about the work that you did with that company.
Sure, absolutely. And people are entitled to legal representation. I acted for Huawei. The last time I had anything to do with them was about 18 months ago, and that was representing them. They, in terms of Huawei Australia, they bent over backwards to deal with any national security concerns. Malcolm Turnbull, in his memoir, actually said, we didn't find anything that they did wrong, but we were concerned because they were a Chinese company. That's fair enough. I mean, I want to make it clear. In terms of national security issues, I support the government and the opposition. I think what has happened in Ukraine with Putin's invasion of Ukraine has been a wake-up call to the world, and I support the government. I think you'll find that there won't be any real difference for me with the government and the opposition on national security issues, but where there will be a difference is for me to focus on domestic issues such as the meth epidemic in South Australia, where the Times ran a big story today about drug driving, kids being put at risk. These are the sorts of issues that I want to focus on.
And just finally, you've ruled out a reheating of the famous 2018 Bollywood ad. Have you got any other sort of zany advertising campaigns up your sleeve?
I think I'll give zany a miss, partly because I don't have the dough to do it. But look, no Bollywood, but if I'm successful on the night, there might be a bit of Zorba.
few plates smashed after yet another Xenophon victory.
I've got, if that happens, but I've got 2 left feet, so I'm perfect for Zorba.
Good stuff. Nick Xenophon, running again for the Senate from South Australia. Thanks for joining us this morning, Nick.
All the best, guys. Thank you.
Nick Xenophon.
16 minutes after 8. Ratio Fantasia coming up in just a moment. 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Mount Barker text line. We'll check traffic first. The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV shows on at Her Majesty's Theatre Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
In the city, Carvey motorcycle West Terrace at Wright Street, North Adelaide. 3-car crash, Tint Street near O'Connell Street causing delays inbound. Gilwyn, traffic lights playing up on the Porter Expressway and Mile End. You'll find restrictions for works on Henley Beach Road near South Road affecting both directions. Cameras, Eastern Parade, Otway, Hanson Road, Winkfield, Military Road at Taparoo. It's 4-day sale time at Harris Scarf. Hot deals on a wide range of homewares and fashion. You won't believe these prices are for real. End Sunday at Harris Scarf. Great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowies Sports Show.
My worst fears were realised last night, and so were Barry Hall's. Sunnyville, SBW, absolutely annihilated Big Baz inside one round.
And win! Sunnyville! He's the king! Wow!
The pre-match song went longer than he was in the ring.
4 p.m. weekdays.
He got knocked into La La Land. Good night, Baz. I'd hang him up, mate. It's not worth the dollars.
Rowies Sports Show on 5AA.
Hey, it's Callum here. Whether you're buying your first Mazda, trading your old vehicle, or getting your car serviced, take it from me. You cannot go wrong with the team at Edwardstown Mazda. Right now, there's phenomenal savings on new, demo, and used Mazdas, including the Mazda 3 G20 Pure from $29,919 drive away, or CX-5 Max Sport from $42,033 drive away.
It's gotta be
EdwardstownMazda.com.au. LMVD 207428.
If a new in-ground pool is on your family's radar, do the wise thing and talk to Rainwise Pools. Wise, because Rainwise Pools are a family-run and operated business with strong family values at the core of everything they do. Wise, because Rainwise Pools have won multiple awards here and nationally. Wise, because Rainwise Pools offer a 30-year structural and the new Claw Shield technology on all fiberglass pools. Be pool wise. Visit rainwise.com.au. 2021 Fiberglass Pool Builder of the Year.
Now, sometimes it comes at night. Maybe you'll hear it in the background after a long day on the job, or maybe when you're just relaxing on the couch.
Now, you must be referring to the Call of the Wild.
How did you know I was, Will?
Just a sense. I just looked at you and I thought, he's got that wild look in his eyes.
You're spot on there. The wild is calling louder than ever. They didn't bank on getting free sound effects as part of this ad. Monarto Safari Park's new visitor centre is now open.
It's bringing an even more immersive safari experience that starts the moment you enter the gates.
I love the Monarto Safari Park. It's fantastic. Get face-to-face with giraffes, hyenas and lions. Maybe keep a bit of a distance from the lions, but plenty of animals you can get face-to-face with without being attacked.
It isn't just an amazing experience, it's a conservation charity. So by visiting, you're also helping their species, 70% of which are sadly threatened with extinction in the wild.
It really is a cracking day out. We go as a family about once a year. The wild is calling, so answer. Book your visit at monartosafari.com.au.
Hi, I'm Pat from O'Brien Glass. I've been replacing broken glass in homes and businesses for nearly 30 years. Making people feel safe and secure is my job. So, if you find yourself in this situation, just call your local O'Brien experts to make your place safe again.
O'Brien Glass even offers a 24/7 emergency repair service. So call your local Adelaide experts on 13 16 16.
O'Brien. We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Down on the corner, out in the street.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes after 8, there has been an absolute boil over in world sport. And I tell you what, as a Socceroos fan, I woke up feeling miserable this morning. I can only imagine how... And spoiler alert for anyone that's taped this that wants to watch it a little bit later. Look away now. If you're a member of the Italian community, I can only imagine how devastated you are this morning at a result that's just come through in the last few moments. Italy will miss a second consecutive World Cup. Italy, European champions.
The Azzurri.
After being knocked out by North Macedonia. I
didn't even know that was a country.
Who now will play off against Portugal for a spot in the World Cup in Qatar. Italy knocked out. North Macedonia has a population of 1.8 million people.
Who's your favourite North Macedonian footballer?
Hard to pick.
Very hard to pick.
They probably have other jobs.
Yeah.
Like 92nd minute as well.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Well, that puts it all in perspective for Socceroos fans a bit, doesn't it?
It's a cruel sport. So they're European champs. They go from the height of that to not even qualifying for the World Cup.
It's staggering.
Unbelievable result. All right. I reckon our next guest might be a little bit disappointed about that too. So I hate to bring it up in that order, but that's unfortunately the way the cookie crumbles. Rainwise Pools, family-owned, building pools in SA for over 15 years. Google Rainwise Pools Adelaide.
Orazio Fantasia, intercepted almost by Orazio Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia, Orazio Fantasia, Orazio Fantasia, Orazio. Ho, 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 it's magic, you know.
22 after 8. Orazio Fantasia joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Orazio, good morning to you, mate. Or maybe not.
I was going to say, you brought that up on purpose, didn't you? It's
just happened, mate.
You did it on purpose.
It's just happened.
I was watching on my phone.
Oh, no.
Were you, mate? Devastated. We had 30 shots on goal, lads. We couldn't score.
30?
Yeah.
The Socceroos haven't had 30 shots on goal in 4 years.
But they can score at least.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
how heartbreaking.
No, mate, it wasn't we weren't trying to wind you up.
No.
Tommy Wren was watching it in the sports booth, and he just was texting us saying, hell of a boil over here, but geez, 2 in a row for Italy. It's bizarre how they did so well in the Euros, but to bomb out here is just phenomenal.
yeah, I think there'll be some riots in the street. That's for sure.
Ugly scenes on Lower North East Road.
Yeah, in Norwood and Tranmere and Rostrevor. Yeah,
that's right. Well, mate, tell us about the walking wounded. Poor old Port Adelaide. They look more like a casualty ward at the moment after last week.
Yeah, I mean, touch wood. To be honest, I think the only really bad one is probably Aaliyah. So Durs is a big chance to still play, and so is Trent, and so is Robbie. So
that's good.
Everyone's still a chance to play, which is really good. I think they're going to have a run around today in the captain's run and just make sure they get the sort of tick of approval. But yeah, there's still a chance. So we got pretty lucky, really.
Got a couple of new faces coming this week. Josh Sin, Sam Skinner. Introduce these blokes to the 5AA breakfast audience. Orazio?
Yeah, of course. Big Sammy Skinner, he was up on Brisbane's list for a little while there, and just had a ton of bad luck with, I think it was 3 ACL. So he came to South Adelaide and did it the hard way and got back in. But, mate, he's super impressive. He's big, strong ox. Like, we wait to see the size of him. He's going to push a few blokes around. So, it's exciting for him to get his first game for us. And Josh Sin, we picked him with our first round pick, and he came in and not played lots of footy, in terms of, coming through his under 18s and stuff with all the COVID things, but he played lots of wing for us, and I think we see him as a bit more of a mid down the track, but while he's sort of just getting his rig right, and I know how long that can take, he's playing a bit of forward and wing, but he's got super skill. He's a great left foot kick. He bombs it, 60 metres, so he's going to provide lots of run and carry on the wings with X and with Dan Houston as well, who played a bit more sort of wing time and mid time on the weekend.
Well, speaking of coming back from injury, mate, how's your rehab going? You guys have got a session this morning. Are you back on your pegs yet, running around?
I am, and I know it's probably just a little thing, but running again feels that good. I'm not sure if you guys like running as much as I do, but it's nice to just be running pain-free.
Never tried it, actually, Orazio, since you mentioned it, mate. Will's into it. He's often seen dashing along the Esplanade at Henley Beach.
It's not really running, it's just sort of surviving, Orazio. And even then it's a failure. Hey, I wanted to ask you on a serious note about the build-up this week to this round 2 clash, which is going to be a special one at the club because you're honouring one of the greatest to ever do it in Russell Lee. But what's it been like for the players? I know it's been an interesting one for Xavier Dersma because he's giving up his number for the game. But just tell us a little bit about the week and the build-up.
Yeah, it's been pretty special. We've spoken a lot about him and what he's done for the football club. We spoke to Sean Burgoyne about what he did for him as well as a young fella. And he was around and teaching them all the fundamentals and, taking them to games and trainings and stuff like that. He's really the fabric of the football club. So it's a pretty special night, I think, and we want to get as many people as we can to honour him, and he deserves it,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It'll be a really special occasion, I reckon. I think you'll get a stack of fans there, and it'll be quite an incredible game. We look forward to chatting with you again next week, Orazio, on the comeback trail, and all the best for the club on the weekend.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Orazio.
Orazio Fantasia. Thanks to Rainwise Pools, family-owned, building pools in SA for over 15 years. Google Rainwise Pools Adelaide. Now, we had we spoke with Josh Militsis a little bit earlier in the program about Villi's and the really special occasion tomorrow, marking a year since the death of Villi, and they've got a promotion whereby they're asking people to raise a pie to the sky for Villi. Buy a product tomorrow, either go to Villi's or a supermarket and buy a product to celebrate his life and legacy. Put your pies out, so to speak. You know what? The other thing they really wanted us to do here at 5AA, they said we want to come on and tell people about this event and encourage people to be part of it. The other thing they really wanted to have done, and we're happy to oblige, is have John Blake's song about Villi that from a year ago played on 5AA Breakfast. So here it is.
The little man came out here from Hungary, looking for a better life. And pretty soon we started to notice he made a very tasty pie. Before we knew it, he had done it. Cornered the market he had chased. And then we heard his immortal words of, they're all handmade just can't taste. Villi, you are a hero. You are a part of our lives. Villi, you are a hero. No one comes close to your pies. You bake 100,000 a day. We're all sad you had to go away. Villi, you are a hero. So rest in peace.
Some people criticise me that things have changed. Because one of the things that you was asking my workers how zealous I am on the fact that do not change anything. It's a winner, so why change it? It's not broke, why fix it? It will always be the same.
That was a great tribute, wasn't
lovely
it?
tribute, and we're happy to have played it for the for Villi's family.
Absolutely. You might get a headline too a bit later.
Oh, looking forward to that. We're talking North Macedonia beat Italy. We got a text from Andrew on the Telstra Storm Barker text line. Most famous Macedonian, Peter Dacos, the Macedonian marvel.
Yeah.
He might have.
Most famous defeat of Italy would have to be North Korea beat them in the 1960s, didn't they?
This would
in a World Cup qualifier.
I think this goes past that.
It's pretty wild.
It's unbelievable. North Macedonia. All right, it's 29 after 8, 5AA News on the way, behind closed doors, and the Premier next.
Every day, they tell you their news is local. And every day, they bring you news made in Sydney. Watch the news you can trust. Adelaide's 7 News, made right here, mornings, afternoons, and 6 p.m. every night.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they are offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
If you're a landlord or tenant, then check this out. Toop and Toop have just launched an industry first. They're now giving tenants early access to rental properties. So tenants can secure a home up to 2 months sooner and before they become publicly available. Tenants simply register on the Toop and Toop website, then they'll notify you of any properties that match your needs.
And landlords, listen up, because this innovation could save you hundreds. You can secure quality tenants up to 2 months in advance and before you incur hundreds of dollars in advertising costs. It's brilliant, such a great concept by Toop and Toop, and one that's so needed in today's renting climate.
If you want to tap into this incredible tenant network, head to toop.com.au or give them a call today.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 24 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
The Premier says he won't be closing schools a week early before Easter, despite COVID case numbers on the rise. The Education Union had been calling for the extra week. Staff shortages have forced at least 3 schools to close. More than 3/4 of schools and preschools have between 1 and 10 teachers away each day. Relaxing close contact rules and mask mandates will be discussed when the state government's new Emergency Management Council meet for the first time today. The council has replaced the COVID Ready Committee. And older Australians are now being encouraged to get a 4th dose of a COVID vaccine. ATAGI is advising people over 65 to get an additional jab 4 months after their first booster. A major show of support for the Osborne Shipyard. Expansion plans will be announced in next week's federal budget. Federal Minister for Finance, Simon Birmingham, says that means security and jobs.
While the change from the diesel-powered submarine to the nuclear-powered submarine was a shock last year, it is a crucial decision to make sure that our Navy has what it needs, and it will generate many thousands of jobs for decades to come.
The Shaheen family have made Australia's richest 250 list, the 3 brothers coming in at numbers 54, 55 and 56, with a combined wealth of $2.17 billion. That's up from $1.93 billion the year before. The Shaheens run the Peregrine Corporation. They're behind the OTRs and the Bend Motorsport Park. US President Joe Biden says NATO has never been more united, and Vladimir Putin is getting exactly the opposite of what he intended when Russia invaded Ukraine. An emergency NATO summit has agreed to send troops to 4 countries in Eastern Europe. President Biden says the US has already committed $2 billion worth of military equipment to Ukraine.
Air systems, anti-armor systems, ammunition, and our weapons are flowing into Ukraine as I speak. And today, I'm announcing the United States is prepared to commit more than $1 billion in humanitarian assistance to help get relief to millions of Ukrainians affected by the war in Ukraine.
International researchers have found a possible association between consuming artificial sweeteners and increased cancer risk. Gail Watson has more.
Researchers analysed dietary records and data from more than 100,000 French adults. They say after adjusting for other factors such as age, physical activity and smoking, the team found that those consuming larger quantities of artificial sweeteners had a higher risk of overall cancer compared to non-consumers. The higher risks were observed for breast cancer and obesity-related cancers. The authors say their findings do not support the use of sweeteners as safe alternatives for sugar in foods and drinks. Australian dietitian and nutritionist Dr. Alan Barclay says while the research is interesting, it does not prove that these sweeteners cause cancer in humans, and more research is required to answer this question.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty. 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And with everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yes, let's start there. Port Adelaide's players will hit the training track this morning as they prepare for tomorrow night's first home game of the season against Hawthorn. The Power went down by 11 points to Brisbane at the Gabba last week and suffered several injuries, but Orazio Fantasia has told David and Will they were lucky Trent McKenzie, Connor Rosie and Xavier Dersmer's injuries weren't as bad as first feared, meaning they're all set to tackle the Hawks.
I think they're going to have a run around today in the captain's run and just make sure they get the sort of tick of approval. But yeah, there's still a chance. So we got pretty lucky, really.
Aaliyah is out, though, with an ankle injury, while Robbie Gray is also out with a sore knee. And the Crows will fly to Melbourne today ahead of tomorrow's match against Collingwood at the MCG. Riley Thilthorpe and Wayne Miller have been dropped. One game last night with Carlton, 12-point winners against the Bulldogs. Well, a shock result in World Cup qualification this morning, with Italy failing to make the showpiece event for a second successive campaign after being beaten 1-0 by 67th ranked side North Macedonia. The Socceroos, meantime, are on track to join the Azzurri on the absentee list after suffering a 2-0 loss to Japan. It means the Aussies will now have to qualify through knockout matches in Asia and South America to make it. To cricket, Australia's bowlers have a lot of work ahead of them with a day to play in the third test against Pakistan in Lahore. Chasing 351 to win, the home side finished day 4 at none for 73. Meantime, an unbroken century stand between Henry Hunt and Harry Nilsson has helped SA reach 5 for 219. That's after stumps on day 2 of its Shield clash against New South Wales, meaning the Redbacks trail the Blues' first innings by only 75 runs. And a great start for the Aussies on day 2 of the World Match Play event in golf with wins for Minwoo Lee and Lucas Herbert. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
At North Adelaide, residual delays from an earlier crash on 10th Street near O'Connell Street. In the city, Carvey motorcycle, West Terrace at Wright Street. Salisbury, reports of a smash on Park Terrace and Gilman. Traffic lights playing up on the Port River Expressway. Cameras this morning, Berrima Road, Shadow Park, Fletcher Road, Largs Bay and Hanson Road at Wingfield. Score 6 KFC original recipe chicken pieces for $6.95. Only on the KFC app before 6 p.m. Not everywhere or forever. Max 2 each. Delivery fees apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
A mostly sunny Friday on the way, 24. Sunny tomorrow, 28. Sunday mostly sunny and 30. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Were you a fan of the Seekers? Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons? Neil Sedaka, the Everly Brothers, or the Bee Gees? Well, don't miss the Robertson Brothers Variety Show. It's a live 1960s variety TV show with special guest Simon Brooke McLaughlin from the Jersey Boys. The Robertson Brothers Variety Show. Tickets on sale now.
Her Majesty's Theatre, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
Let me tell you about St Kilda Hotel. Legend has it, long before the Schnitties and St Kilda Playground over there, this pub was a hideaway for the daring few who wanted a cold one after hours. A watchman kept lookout for cops, and this secluded little pub became a sanctuary for the few that knew about it. Still is. Good old school hospitality. Now you know. This table's waiting for you at St Kilda Hotel.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 9, behind closed doors is coming up. And we get a meat trade award before 9 o'clock, thanks to Dane at Blackwood Country Meats. 248 Main Road, Blackwood. Australian grown quality meats as well. Go in and support them, they do a wonderful job. We'll announce a winner regarding best comebacks before 9 o'clock.
We're joined now by the Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas. We've been discussing this morning the calls from the Australian Education Union for an extra week of school holidays and more pupil-free days to cope with the pressures that teachers are enduring at the moment due to the COVID cases that are running through the school community. Premier, good morning. Thanks for your time. What's your take on this?
Well, I don't support the idea at all, Dave or Will, and so much so that when I started to get my head around it in the early hours of yesterday evening, I hit the phones and spoke to the Chief Executive of the Department of Education, Mr Rick Purse, and also spoke to the Police Commissioner. And I mean, essentially I've intervened to make sure that this doesn't happen. I mean, barring an extraordinary event, a whole new strain or something that's unforeseeable, I'm just not going to count into the idea that we shut down schools for another week, principally because of the extraordinary inconvenience it's going to cause students and parents alike.
Well, I've got to say, I mean, a lot of kids at the moment with the close contact rules and so forth are sort of doing a piecemeal education, and logistically there's a situation where they're on Zoom one day, then they're at school, then they're not at school. So I think anything that makes school more consistent is to be welcomed.
Well, look, think about it from this angle, right? So let's say you're a single parent and you've got a job and you don't have access to sick leave, or you are a small business owner and you've got no one else who can replace you, a sole trader, for instance. School shut down for a week and you don't have arrangements in place about who's going to look after the kids. You're buggered. And look, I get that our teachers are under the pump, right? And they're doing an outstanding job. In fact, every single parent in the state who had to endure homeschool has got a whole new level of appreciation of the work that our educators do. But look, what I'd say is anyone who feels as though they're under the pump at the moment, go spend a few hours at an emergency department and chat to a nurse who's on the back of the end of a double shift that they've just performed. That's what, I think we need to take a bit of inspiration from and get through this. So what I said to Rick last night was, look, I'd have MPs and every single public servant who's got a working with children check out in our schools providing assistance before we start shutting down schools for a whole week. So, and I think he gets the message. He's an outstanding leader of his department. Educators are doing a good job, and we'll just get through it as best as we can.
Premier, we played some audio yesterday. It was the principal of Sacred Heart, I think, who made the comments, and albeit private school, but the challenges would be the same. And he made the point that at some point in time, it's not education. They're just getting teachers together to basically supervise kids in a gymnasium. So how does the state government prevent school from becoming just basically, over-glorified daycare at the moment?
Yeah, well, but here's the point. Like, even if that is occurring, because educator after educator is being knocked out through isolation and close contact rules, which I might come back to in a second, even if it is happening, they're still doing an incredibly important service for our community. Because if you take that away, then all of a sudden you've got whole legions of parents and guardians throughout the state who are deprived of an ability to earn an income.
Oh, so on the contrary, you're happy for them to become basically daycare?
No, what I'm saying is, of course our schools are there to educate and our teachers want to teach. But we've all got to get through this as best as we can. And I think that wherever we've got frontline public services doing a basic function, that's to be acknowledged and appreciated. And that includes that if need be. But look, one of the things that can help ameliorate the impact on our teachers and SSOs alike is, of course, what happens with close contact rules, isolation requirements and the like. And that's exactly what I'm examining at a meeting starting in 18 minutes' time. Our first meeting of the Emergency Management Council, which will oversee the government's COVID response in my government, and all of these items on the agenda, and we'll see what progresses out of that throughout the course of the morning.
Are you taking a view to that meeting? Sorry, you just dropped out there. Are you taking a view to that meeting?
Yeah, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what that view is, Premier?
Look, I think that's best discussed in the Emergency Management Council meeting. Of course, it is the Police Commissioner under the Emergency Management Declaration who retains the authority to amend restrictions and the like. And I'm working very closely with the Police Commissioner. He is a very, very good leader, and he's done an outstanding job for our state, working closely with Nicola Spurrier. And it's a team effort. It's a team effort. But I've asked, and my government has asked Professor Spurrier in the Department of Health to produce additional modelling to our meeting this morning, and that'll be examined. And I have no doubt that collectively we'll arrive at the right judgment, and the Police Commissioner will do his level best to exercise the same execution of thought that he's done throughout the pandemic, and will arrive at the right result.
Does it still strike you as odd, though, that our rules here are so much more conservative than they are in the rest of Australia? And as Premier, do you think if we can assure ourselves that our health system can cope, and maybe even there's a short-term staffing boost that can be delivered to further bolster our hospitals, is your instinct that we should be pushing more towards the eastern states model?
I think national consistency is a very important and legitimate ambition. And I said at the beginning of the week in my first press conference on this matter that I want to see us arrive at national consistency. But having said that, if there is a unique set of circumstances that apply to South Australia that means we should depart from that, so be it. Now, what is those set of circumstances? Well, essentially it's this, that our health system is under the pump. Our health system is performing worse than the rest of the nation. And the reason why we've had some of the toughest restrictions is because we've got the weakest hospital system. And as you fellas know, and your listeners know, that is the number one priority of my government as enunciated throughout the entirety of our campaign. That being said, there are a range of actions that came out of a meeting that I had earlier in the week that are going to be discussed at the Emergency Management Council meeting that may yet provide the Police Commissioner and Professor Spurrier the assurance that we're heading in the right direction that may allow us to progress further towards national consistency. But look, I'm not going to preempt the outcome of the meeting today. But look, the situation where we've got people who don't have COVID in a household doing 14 days quarantine, and then someone who does have COVID doing 7 days quarantine, clearly, to put it mildly, that is unique, and that is top of the list to be discussed this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Premier Peter Malinauskas, thanks for joining us. It's going to be a big story later today. You can follow it throughout the day on 5AA News. Getting a lot of feedback about that interview, and a lot of it appears to be from people who historically were Liberal voters saying things like this. OMG, the Premier's talking sense. Wow, I didn't expect that. That's from Sam in Newton. Another one here, the Premier speaks sense. These are extraordinary times. 100% agree with Mally is another one. And Fred says it's only early days, but Stephen Marshall should have been talking like Peter on these issues. There are a number, though, from teachers and the relatives of teachers. One here from a concerned mother and grandmother saying, further to this morning's concerns regarding COVID and schools, as the mother of a teacher, I'm expressing my concerns on top of teachers working from as early as 7:30am through to 10pm without any breaks, as there's no one to relieve them or oversee your children at recess or lunchtime. These teachers are reducing their body's natural ability to fight the COVID virus despite being triple vaccinated. On top of this, many teachers will suffer mental health issues that could well stretch to the end of the year. This is not just a now problem, but then many, many more messages along these lines. Pupil-free days. How about patient-free days for doctors and nurses?
Yeah, let's hope they don't. Start advocating for that. Then we're in a lot of strife. A lot of reference to the change in tone from the new from the new Premier on
Well,
these sorts of issues. It is
in a
marked
nutshell,
difference.
the headline out of that is the government's back in town.
Yep.
The elected government is back in town. Doesn't mean that the new Premier is going to be doing a Donald Trump and going to war with Nicola Spurrier, but it means there's a lot more advocacy. And interestingly, a lot of people are texting about masks, but the thing that is motivating the new Premier on this stuff is the impact this is actually having on people's jobs and the ability of businesses to run their jobs. And it's the close contact rules, as he mentioned, that are the thing that... I was at the Jasmine last night, right? Amric, the bloke who runs that awesome Adelaide restaurant, such an institution. I was there with 6 friends, and at the start of the meal, I was chatting to Amric, and he said, come and have a look at this, come and have a look at this. And he walked me around behind the till at the entrance to the restaurant, and he showed me tonight's booking sheet and Saturday's booking sheet. There were 7 cancellations.
Yeah.
And all of them are people who've just been put in ISO.
Yeah. I spoke to someone who runs a physiotherapy business. It's a massive thing, and they were saying somewhere in the order of 150 bookings on a Friday, which is usually about right. But to get there was somewhere in the order of 70 or 80 cancellations.
Yeah,
and that's just legwork that needs to be done. It's just it's an untenable situation. There's a touch of the new girlfriends about this, though, isn't there? The Premier comes in, he's so different from the last guy. He's got a different tone. And we never, there's the honeymoon period.
Yeah, for sure.
The rubber will hit the road.
Yes.
Ray in Lockleys has called in on Meat Tray Friday talking about political comebacks. Ray, good morning to you.
Good morning. I reckon the Holden Monaro was first produced back in about 1968, went for about 20-odd years, then went off the scene, and come back again in 2001.
That's a great Meat Tray Friday
a really
entry.
good pick, Ray. Did you ever have a Monaro, mate?
Yes, I had a 4-door Monaro, a V8, and boy, did it go like the clappers.
You don't still have it now?
No, I passed it on.
Oh, mate,
But,
pity.
magnificent car.
I saw one the other day sold for $700,000.
Yikes!
The reissued Monaro, I drove one of them for a month, and my God, it was such a good car to drive. It was so cool.
Giving away a meat tray very shortly, thanks to Dane at Blackwood Country Meats. But first, we'll check traffic. The Robertson Brothers 1960s variety TV show, Her Majesty's Steer, Thursday, May 12. Tickets at the venue.
Thanks, Will. At Saul's Resmash on Park Terrace near Main North Road. Ovingham works on Torrens Road near Park Terrace continue. It's affecting both directions. Speeds reduced. Myland, you'll find restrictions for works on Henley Beach Road near South Road. And Woodville works on Port Road near Woodville Road continue. One lane is out. Speeds reduced as well. Cameras, Fletcher's Road, Largs Bay. Military Road at Taparoo. The smarter Volvo XC60 is now in stock and available for immediate delivery. Book a test drive today at volvocarsadelaide.com.au. DO 65541. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Ned's early payout is on the AFL. Place a head-to-head bet on any game this round, and if your team is up by 20 points or more at half-time, you win. Take the AFL to the Ned's level. First $250 staked. T's and C's apply. Visit the website for details. Gamble responsibly.
Peaceful living awaits at the 19th at West, with golf course views, tree-lined walking trails, and a cafe and retail shopping precinct opening soon. The best of the West is at your fingertips, with new 3- and 4-bedroom designs and prices beginning from just $730K. It's no surprise 19th at West is selling quickly. Discover the new collection today. The19thwest.com.au. Delivered by Commercial and General, proudly creating South Australian communities for 25 years.
Get around it on the AFL with Ladbroke's Same Game Multi. Add your favourite markets from the same game and watch your potential payout increase. Ladbroke it! T's and C's apply. See ladbrokes.com.au for details. Gamble responsibly.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Take racing to the Ned's level with Top Toed Exotics. Place an exotic bet, including a quaddie, at Rosehill, Mornington and Ascot this Saturday and get the top toed price across all 3 tabs. Take it to the Ned's level. Gamble responsibly.
If you want to feel great about the milk you pour in your tea and coffee, over your cereal, or in your smoothie, make sure it's from the Fleurieu Milk Company. Because it's a great feeling buying from people who love SA as much as you do. 3 words make all the difference. Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. Phew, feel like a cuppa now.
Fleurieu Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. Fleurieumilkco.com.au.
It's okay to want more, which is why more and more people choose Mawson Lakes Volkswagen to service their car, especially Volkswagen owners. At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we offer state-of-the-art servicing, complimentary loan cars, next-day servicing, and breakfast or lunch is on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au and book your service today.
Take racing to the next level with Top Toed Exotics. Place an exotic bet, including a quaddie, at Rosehill, Mornington and Ascot this Saturday and get the top toed price across all 3 tabs. Take it to the next level. Gamble responsibly.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
6 minutes to 9. We're going to go behind closed doors, and after that, award a meat tray. We've got a headline coming up for you as well. But first, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. They're looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. It's 13 13 64.
And when we get
Sports Day for Kia. The all-new Kia Sportage, Drive Car of the Year. And Lumo SA, Aussie-owned, made for South Australia.
Hi everyone, welcome to Sports Day. David Wildy and the one and only Malcolm Jack Blight. How are you, Blighty?
Yeah, g'day David, how's it going?
Good, Blighty. The big news today, Ash Barty.
Oh yeah, Ash Barty, world number 1, announced her retirement. I was actually talking to my wife Patsy today about that. I said, I've been through this myself. When I kicked 100 goals in the VFL, and I kicked 100 goals in the SANFL, and I walked away.
Yeah, difference is, Malcolm, she's in the prime of her career, and you're almost done.
Well, that's true, yeah, but I think deep down, when you know, you know. When you know, you just know. And when you know, and I've often talked about this, sometimes you just can't go on and pretend without your heart being 100% in it, and I would suggest that Ash Barty is that same type of person as me.
Yeah, so we're talking about Ash Barty's retirement, Malcolm?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, David.
It's funny, isn't it? I did the same thing. I retired at 28. I could have gone on, but I knew the time was right, and I got offered a chance to do radio.
Oh, yeah.
Which, let's face it, is nothing like the Ash Barty situation.
Oh, no, nothing like it, but mine is.
Yeah, right.
And once again today I was talking to my wife Patsy, and I played a lot of tennis too, but I never actually won Wimbledon.
No, that's right.
But you know it's time to move on, because you have other dreams that motivate you, and of course mine was wanting to talk more about Knowles Island Star Caravans.
Yeah, right. Pretty soon we'll talk to Roger Rashid.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll tell us more about Ash Barty and what a warm, humble, caring, fantastic human being she is.
Yeah, right. I was talking to my wife Patsy about how Ash Barty and I are much the same sorts of people.
Good stuff, Malcolm. A lot of things going on in sport and the world as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of troubles. Gee, Vladimir Putin, wow.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on there?
Yeah, it's troubling, isn't it, what's going on? He's only fairly new at this game, too. I mean, before I started playing footy, I had already invaded 3 countries, so he's not quite at that level yet, but I know where he's coming from.
He's done it all, Malcolm Blight. It's time for Fuel Watch. Find the cheapest fuel in the free My RAA app, including where RAA members can save 4 cents a litre. The numbers looking better. There's even an 8 in the cheap spots this morning. Ex-Convenience, Main North Road, Jeps Cross. Congrats to you. $1.89.5. The Ampol, O'Connell Street, North Adelaide, $1.91.9. The Liberty at Meringi Avenue, Camden Park, $1.95.5. And the cheapest diesel we've found, the Ex-Convenience, Main North Road, Jeps Cross, $1.95.5.
Hey, big thanks to the guys, Dane and the gang, at Blackwood Country Meats for providing today's excellent meat tray. The team has been serving premium quality meat for over 60 years. They do a terrific job. You can pop in and see them this weekend at 248 Main Road, Blackwood. Beautiful Blackwood. Love Blackwood. Great part of the city, Blackwood, up there in the hills. Should we do the winners, Will?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're actually going to give away 2 prizes today. We're going to give the meat tray to a late entrant, Ray, from Lockley's, for his paean to the Monaro, the Monaros, the original one. and then the Reborn one. Terrific cars. And we really like the text that Sue, our very loyal listener Sue in Christie's Beach, sent in about Paul McCartney coming back from the dead after Abbey Road came out. So we're going to give Sue a double to Girl from the North Country. Really enjoyed that interview yesterday with Lisa McCune and Terry Donovan. That was
Good
great.
stuff. All right, time for headline.
Pie in the Sky. 1 year on, SA remembers its heavenly baker.
Nice headline.
Yeah.
Nice one.
You run that. Barley Villi.
That's all from us. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. Enjoy the weather, and we'll catch you Monday morning from 6.